Much for coming. I'm really happy seeing you, and I've learned like so much from you and everything, and I wish you well and going ahead and all. Thank you so much. So guys, that's all we can take on this episode. Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll see you next time. Bye for now. Bye.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
Because when you go into public office, you must be ready to answer to the people.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, and use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Ayetoro community is a theocratic communist setting funded by a group of believers known as the Apostles in 1947. Ayetoro community in its heydays has the largest per capita income in the whole of West Africa. Initially, Ayetoro community was 15 to 20 kilometer landmass away from the sea. But as it stands now, more than 10 kilometers of the total landmass has gone into the sea. And this frequent surge is attributed to emission from multinational oil companies off the coasts of our land, not minding the environmental challenges and disasters.
This is a community established in one of the Nigeria bases. A lot of people you see in the offshore were trained here. Both mechanical engineer, electrical engineer, and nautical engineer were trained in this bush. Yes, this bush, I call this place bush. And this is the Shepherd Technical Workshop approved by the IWD, which is now Minister of Transport. IWD means the Inland Waterway Department. That is the colonial time.
This place is like small London. So, and our primary occupation here is fishing. You can see now, everything now has been eroded. Some of our fishermen, they have went to other places to find for their source of livelihood.
It's just a sudden that we have been experiencing corruption coming every day by day. And since that time, we have been making effort to the federal government because we are law-abiding citizens. We believe that we cannot engage ourselves in a radical ways because we believe that by protesting, writing letters, federal government can come to our aid. By the videos, a lot of things we have been doing since we have expressing the Sea Church.
I'm shooting.
That area, that is the iconic worship center. Yeah, that wood That is the iconic worship center. Over there, we have the community service center here, over there. Then at the same time, the major streets where other minor streets were linked to has been permanently submerged by the ocean surge.
I am seriously worried. I'm worried because this recurrency surge is affecting us in virtually all human aspects of our life. Social life has been collapsed, economic-wise has been collapsed, health-wise, nothing to sing and dance home about. Even our religious activities, our life, religious life, has been collapsed totally. Because Ayeto community is a religious setting. The church moved here. We have not just come here to trade or to do other activities. The church is the community is the church. So every aspect of our life has been totally, damaged by this current, recurring sea surge happening in Ayeto. Over 20 years, we've been into this. People have lost, several properties worth millions. Buildings has collapsed. Over 500 to 600 to 700 buildings have been washed away. Our industrial power has been collapsed. Ayeto community is known to be a self-developed community on its own, without any intervention of the federal government or the state government over the years. Yet we kept on going. If by now the ocean surge, as a result of the oil exploration that is going on in our offshore, is destroying our land. Up till now, we cannot see the hand of the government coming to help and to rescue us. It is so sad, and that's why I'm worried.
Ṣé ẹ bá wo gbogbo ibi ilé ló kún bẹ̀, gbogbo ilé yẹn ni òkun ti parẹ́ pátápátá. Bó dẹ̀ ṣe ń wó ilé yẹn ló ń wó gbogbo àwọn ohun àlùmọ́nì wa, àwọn ohun tí a ní, ilé, ẹrù wa, ìmí gan tó bá ń wo báyìí tí a bá tètè dìsámúra àti gbà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀, ó gbé gbogbo ẹ̀ lọ nìyẹn.
Fund the trip of those guys. Trip of those guys.
This thing is excruciating, it is extreme. In fact, every blessed day, people used to die because of the thinking that the community that was founded at their present has been eroded. So it is extreme, it is serious, it is harrowing.
My father's house happened to be the extreme house before the Atlantic Ocean. We lost it 2017. 2007, that was when we lost it. It's highly devastating. Even the one that belonged to my grandmother, we lost it. That was along primary school road. We lost it too. So I've been affected. I'm highly devastated. Now I'm a tenant in my hometown. Imagine how is it? Highly devastating. We need support of the entire world to save this community. Ayeto community is a community that must not go into extinction. It's a very serious situation.
So the community is divided into two, the up and the down. So the up is reserved for the male. Why do that? Because they want them to access the sea quickly because of the occupation they engage in. Then the downside is reserved for the female, so that they can drive their fishes, because the Atlantic breeze is coming from the up, so that the smoke will not disturb the community from up. That was why they situated the downside for the women, so that their kitchen can be the downside. So you have Bale, Abejoye, Korodun, Aneroye, Adedoyin, Alebiosun, Bishop, Arojolu. Then so after Arojolu you have information house or the glass house, as we used to call it.
So where's the glass house now?
It's gone already.
It's submerged already.
That is where all the information regarding the Aito community, people come in just like you came now. All the information about your trip, what you are going to do, when you are going to, you go back, so it will be documented before you go into the community. That was how it was done then. Then the city hall or civil center, there too, all of them have gone. After the city hall, you have Ojomo Street is gone too. So behind Ojomo, you have the church building, the church street and the church building. Is gone already.
And that church is very important.
Very important. Community. That is where they situated that night of January 12, 1947. They situated when they came in. Now we have Akinjoye, we have Ajayi. Then in Ajayi Street, you have the first Ogeloyinbo Palace built with wood. So that one is gone too. We have the Olowojayi. Then after Olowojayi, you have the shoe making industry.
There used to be a shoemaking
industry. One of the industry, a small scale industry. Then behind the shoemaking industry, you have the clothing making industry too. So that one too is gone. It's gone. So we have after Olowojayi, behind it is the shoemaking and the clothing making. We have Olowo Topa Oyinbo. We have Omogbenwa. Then after Omogbenwa, we have the carpentry workshop. So the carpentry workshop too is currently threatened. Half of it is gone into into the sea. And then you have Tobase. Then after the Tobase street there, you have a mini supermarket. There's a mini supermarket there. So after the mini supermarket is where you have Oyetomi Street. So from the upside,
where's the mini supermarket?
This is just behind the what's it called?
But it's still there.
We can still find it there. So after the the mini supermarket, you have Oyetomi Street. So from the main side now, the main streets, Oyetomi Street is the only surviving street you can find up.
And it's been threatened.
It's threatened. In almost we only have just 2 buildings.
That is where my mother's father's house was situated, and it has been eroded.
Just 2 houses.
And your fear now is that this side, where the female side might be affected. Yes. So it's like everybody has moved to this side now.
Yes. So most of the male now, they are actually residing with their wives.
With their wives.
Their wives. So the Oyetomi is the only one that you see. Then from the downside where you have the
and these broad streets, it's no longer existing.
It's gone completely. It's gone completely. Where you can have the broad street, the beauty of the broad street now, it's around the Block Palace. That's where you can have the beauty of the broad street.
Okay.
How it looks like.
Tí ẹ bá wo ọ̀hún yẹn, chọ́ọ̀chì wa gangan the main church táwọn baba ńlá wa kọ́ ó ti wo àtúnkọ́ mi ó tún wo.
The church is where all the inhabitants of this land we gather to worship God, because that was the revelation our forefathers received. This place is a Christian utopian religious community for the service of God. It has actually changed the landscape totally. Let me put it that way. Why do I say so? It's because when you look at the land mass, as at when our founding fathers came here, 1947, it is about 20 or 15 kilometers to the shore. So people had to trek. I think Dr. Noge wrote a book about Aito community. That the only challenges that the fishermen, because Aito is known for fishing, the only challenges that they are having, it is the accessibility to the shore. Too. That is as at that time, and it's been a long time. So it has actually changed the landscape, and we are worried about it. This is the Community Technical College. Here we are. Now you can see now these are debris has been ravaged by the sea surge. Now, that place, that is the bakery that we are using before. This last month, the sea surge has ravaged this place and we've relocated to another place. So it is serious. That is the powerhouse generating plant. It has been affected, greatly affected by the ocean surge. We also have dockyard over there where marine boats were built in the past. That place has been submerged as well. So nothing to write home about in the community again. All our social, cultural activities has gone. The secondary schools has been relocated for about 3 consecutive times now. Nothing again.
If urgent intervention is not coming any moment from now, the community will no longer in existence because 2/3 of the community has gone already.
My fears is that if something reasonable, prompt action is not taken on the part of government to salvage this land, perhaps we might. We don't pray for such anyway. The community might go into extinction. We don't want that because Aito community has helped the federal government, even the West Africa, in terms of marine. Because when Aito was having a technical school, the Aito community has trained experts in marine engineering, in nautical engineering, and they are serving all the multinational companies that we can see in our offshore. Aito community has built the largest fishing boat in the history of Nigeria and West Africa. It was built here by the local carpenter, and those people that even built those beauty boats, they were still alive. Check Fishing News International, is there.
If prompt and urgent action is not taken within, let me say, within a space of 2 months, where we stand here will no longer be. So, and that is why we are appealing to the federal government as a matter of urgency and exigency to please come to our rescue, so that Ayetoro is a historic community, so that it will not become a thing of history. That is our appealing. We are appealing to the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Dito Sopadek, Ondo State Oil Producing Area Development Commission, to please come to our rescue, so that this glorious community will not become a thing of history.
So we are begging the federal government, we are begging the international community, we are begging NDDC, we are begging all relevant agencies to please come to our aid.
Apá wa ò ká o, kàn jọ kàn má jẹ́ kó kùn yìí kó gbé wa lọ, gbogbo ilé ibi iṣẹ́ wa, gbogbo ilé ìsìn tá ń pè chọ́ọ̀chì, gbogbo ẹ̀ ló ti wó.
I'm now appealing to the state government, federal government, and the world to give what you call immediate action on this community. If you were here about 7 years, about 20 years back, if we tell you the extension of this place, you can't believe.
Abdullahi Dalhatu began grape farming at Dufa Dufa village in Kudang local government area of Nigeria's northwest Kaduna state in 2003. Today, he's one of the very few Nigerian farmers growing grapes in commercial quantity in the country. And he's also the current national president of Grape Producers, Processors and Marketers Association of Nigeria.
What motivates me to go into grape farming is the potentiality associated with the grape farming activities. Because a grape farmer is raising handsome profit, is raising handsome income in grape farming. Because I doubt if there is another aspect of farming in agriculture which is highly lucrative than grape farming in Nigeria. I have started with the only one varieties of grapes called Black Hamburg. So on that time, it's only one varieties I am cultivating here, but now I am growing 7 different varieties of grapes. I have started with only 15 stand of grapes, but now I have more than 1,650 stand of grapes in this farm. Comprise the different varieties as I have said. Actually, I have started it from the small scale, but now it was a large scale.
Grape farming is rare in Nigeria. In fact, many had always thought it's almost near impossible to grow grapes in the country, since the overwhelming bulk of grapes consumed in Nigeria come from abroad.
When I saw the clip showing this project as a result of the visit of the chairman of the local government, I should be impressed, but I was also surprised and wonder whether this is also true. And that is why after the whole thing has gone viral, a lot of people within the country and outside the country have called me to ask me whether this is actually true, because they believe this is a treasure. And I told them that I will not tell them it is true, although my chairman has come and seen it. But as somebody who is within the domain, and the area is within my domain, I feel I should first come and see it before I tell the whole world that this is actually true. It's not magic, it's not any photo magic, it is a reality. From what I've seen, I'm extremely happy, and I must do whatever is humanly possible to encourage the gentlemen and other people that have started this project through any means possible. Intervention, government contact, any other thing that will bring more publicity to this project.
Data from the Observatory of Economic Complexity, OEC, estimates Nigeria's grapes import at over $8 million in 2023, while exporting a meager $36,000 worth of the fruit in the same year. But Dalhatu is working to change that narrative.
Since we discovered that most of the grape being consumed in Nigeria is being imported from abroad, so it's part of our vision to ensure that we promote the grape farming locally in Nigeria, so that our country will be self-sufficient in grape production, marketing, and export. So in the next future, I'm sure, in the next future time, I'm sure Nigeria the dependency of grape importation in Nigeria will reduce up to 55%, so that we can rely on our local production and reach also the level of export with Nigerian locally grape productions.
Dalhatu says grape farming has been more than rewarding, and his customer base now goes beyond the country.
Actually, the grape marketing is so friendly in Nigeria because of the quality and the quantity of grapes we are producing. We are receiving different customers across the country coming direct to the farm and take and buy our product. Even international marketers are coming direct to this farm and access and buy our product due to its quality standard, the sugar content, the longer shelf life, and the quality of the product we are producing. We have the benefit of climate to get 2 good harvests per year, contrary to what is happening in the other countries. Based on the favorable climate we are blessed with, so we used to have a bumper harvest of 2 times in a year.
For now, Dalhatu grows only table grapes, which are widely consumed in Nigeria. But it says it's making plans to start growing wine grapes as well.
Grapes is a type of plant that has so many varieties. So Nigerian, we are only, as I told you, that we are only have the capacity to produce 7 different varieties of grapes. So we need more exotic and improved varieties. And most of that varieties are high-yielding varieties that will enable Nigeria to produce multiple numbers of tons in a harvest. So we need hybrid varieties of grape seedlings.
So far, Dalhatu has trained over 50 persons in grape farming here at his farm. Almost all his trainees have gone on to start their own grape farm. But he says grape farming comes with some familiar challenges.
One of the challenges is that inadequate water supply. Grape is a kind of plant that requires excessive application of water. So insufficient water supply is one of the factors that reducing the growth and development of grape value chain. And the second challenge is faced by our grape farmers inadequate of hybrid seed varieties. Then the third problem we are facing is the storage infrastructure facilities. Because there are situations whereby our grape farmers in Nigeria used to face the risk of losses due to the rain intervention. At the point of ripening, grape farmers face the risk of rainfall, and face the risk of rainfall, which will lead to damage of so many tons of grapes. So if there were to be more storage facilities like a cold room, that will enable both the producer and the marketers to reduce the level of risk, because when it was stored in a cold storage, the grapes will have access for a longer time before it damage. Then another problem is all farmers need financial support. So I'm sure if government will provide financial support to grape farmers by having a conducive and favorable climatic condition for growing grapes, I'm sure the rate of unemployment will drastically reduce.
Despite the challenges, Dalhatu is still marching on, his passion for grape farming unwavering as he embarks on the ambitious mission to help make Nigeria self-sufficient in grapes. Deji Bademasi, TV360.
It's a pleasure to have you join us on the program. I am Simisola Atigun. Nigeria's National Assembly has approved President Bola Tinubu's request for emergency rule in Rivers State, a move which has continued to attract passionate debate across the country. The approval was given after both legislative chambers deliberated on the controversial suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy, and the state legislature, and the federal takeover of the state's administration following the political crisis that rocked the state. This legislative backing of the emergency rule follows Wednesday's swearing in of retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas as the sole administrator of Rivers State. According to the Constitution, the National Assembly has formed a joint committee from both chambers to oversee the management of affairs in Rivers State during the emergency. And in the meantime, the lawmakers have set up a mediation committee consisting of key political figures to assist in resolving the state's political crisis. Well, to further discuss the recent approval by the National Assembly of President Bola Tinubu's emergency rule in Rivers State is legal practitioner Cheftam Nwala, who joins us from Abuja. Thank you for making our time to be on the program. Now, we have seen how the Senate and House of Representatives threw their weight behind the president's emergency rule declaration. What's your reaction to both houses unanimously supporting this move?
I want to say that as a person, of course, you know what Section 305 has stipulated. The National Assembly within 2 days, where the National Assembly is still operational, within 2 days is supposed to ratify either ratify or reject the decision of the president to announce a state of emergency or proclaim a state of emergency. For some of us, before now, I had criticized the state of emergency in Rivers State because I felt, one, it was premature. So I felt some of the terms in the state of emergency was not proper in the circumstance we had seen it, especially with the suspension of the governor and all that, and the House of Assembly. Because for us, we believe that the Constitution does not empower the president to suspend any elected officer. They are not appointees of the president. They are not under the president. So the president cannot take up that particular. So we are hoping that National Assembly was going to save democracy yesterday. Yesterday I was at the National Assembly and I had gone down there to also observe proceedings. I didn't meet the House of Assembly, House of Representatives proceedings, but I met that of the Senate. I was even in the chamber when the proclamation was confirmed by the Senate. And I must say that it is really sad. Initially the chambers went into a closed-door session where they discussed and decided on whatever they decided and came out with their resolution. And the Senate President read the resolution to read the resolution to the public and did his gravel to pass it through. But for us, it is really sad. It is unfortunate that our National Assembly that we had hoped on to survey this particular situation and stop the act of the president, which we deem to be unconstitutional, could not survey the situation. For me, I'm saddened by this particular thing because it's not about Rivers State. It's not about we can sing. It is about the soul of our democracy. It's about defecating on our constitution because the act of the president by suspending an elected governor, suspending an elected House of Assembly, is a defecation on our constitution. And it's really sad. It's unfortunate. It's something that we should not support. Because the truth is this president has gotten his way with this. Another president will come, repeat the same thing, and he will get his way with it, and use this as a reference. That is why it is important that certain times we don't allow unjust actions to take place. We leave it on the board and stop it from happening. But unfortunately, what we have at the National Assembly are just puppets of the president, who will never disagree with the president. Whatever the president says they do, whether it is wrong or right, so far as the pocket is still reading and breathing.
What then do you make of the amendments the lawmakers have made to the proclamation, like setting up a committee to reconcile the aggrieved parties, asking the sole administrator to make a recourse to the National Assembly on issues of regulations for the state and all of that?
Yes, in as much as we criticize the National Assembly for throwing the line of the president in that proclamation, but we must also commend them for the amendments they had made. Because if you recall, during the presidential broadcast, the president had given himself and the executive council the power to make laws for Rivers State within this period, which is against Section 11 of the Constitution that stated clearly that where the House of Assembly is unable to make laws, only the National Assembly can make laws for the state in that circumstance. So I think what the National Assembly has done is highly commendable, and I commend them for taking that particular footstep for making sure that the issue of lawmaking within Rivers State is now brought back to the House of Assembly, to the National Assembly, where a joint House committee will be formed, a joint committee between the House and the Senate will be formed, and this committee will now handle the administrative business of the Rivers State. Now, also the issue of the Senate talking about having respected men in the country, elder statesmen within the country to weigh in and see how it can bring solutions to the pending problem between the House of Assembly and the governor. I think it's also a laudable one for the National Assembly, and we commend them. But we must also realize and understand that the issue of Rivers State is not between the governor and the House of Assembly. The issue in Rivers State is between the governor and his former mentor or his mentor. Yes, so we can be the FCC minister. It is not even the House of Assembly members for me even do not even have a problem. The moment anybody is able to reconcile Wike and Singh together, then we have the problem in Rivers State solved. But the point is, Wike is hiding under the guise of the House of Assembly to carry out whatever actions he's carrying out to make it look like, oh, it's a disagreement between the House of Assembly and himself. But that is not correct. It is actually the disagreement between the FCC minister and the governor. So once this, if they are genuine and sincere in their approach, and the FCC minister and the governor is able to meet with an understanding, and after the stipulated time for the state of emergency is passed, the governor is restored back, the House of Assembly is restored back, and we have a progressive state in that particular circumstance. So I think we must actually commend the National Assembly for also taking that particular step to call him for genuine reconciliation. But you know, these people are politicians. They're only interested in the next election. So the big question is how genuine can this whole process be? Would it not also be a way in which they would want to win the governor and to make him do their bidding and to still encourage that godfatherism which we have criticized in Rivers State? So these are some of the challenges that come with this. But we must actually commend the National Assembly for taking the steps it has taken in the amendments to the proposed proclamation by the president. I think that is it is more progressive than even what they have done. Thank you.
So we understand that a certain number of votes are required, before the emergency rule is approved. Help us understand how this works, how the votes should be cast to get the required 2/3 of the legislative bodies. Right now, there's widespread condemnation over the pattern of voting that the lawmakers adopted.
The Constitution has stipulated in Section 305 that it is 2/3 majority of the House of National Assembly or both House of Rep and Senate that should be able to pass this emergency rule proclamation by the president. But what we saw yesterday was a bit of a show of shame, and we also saw at the House of Rep when one of the Labour Party representatives from Abia State was raising up concerns as to the issue of quorum. And the Speaker Abbas had come up to say, oh, there is an attendance sheet and we are relying on the attendance sheet. And he's saying, no, let us do a health count of people here. That is because in the House of Representatives, they needed about 240 persons, 240 members to scale this through because they must form that particular quorum. There are 240 members, while in the Senate, they needed about 73 senators on ground to get it passed. But unfortunately, we saw a situation where the Speaker of the House of Representatives did throughout the issues raised by the Labour Party, the Labour Party House of Representatives member from Abia State, where he was raising up that concern and said no, he was going to rely on. Speaker said he was going to rely on the attendance register, which we know that probably the attendance register might have been doctored to get the required number. Don't forget the previous day before yesterday, they had tried to raise up this particular issue and get it done with. But they didn't have the required number. So they had to go back, permutate again and came back yesterday to carry this out. And from the look of things, they didn't have a required number. And what did they do? They use a voice vote. For a critical matter and important issues as this, you do not pass it via a voice vote. There is a voting booth that we see in the National Assembly. Why can't such voting instruments be used? Or even if you can't use such voting instruments, you could naturally use a show of hands. A show of hands would have naturally resolved it and the counting will be done to make the process to be transparent and genuine. But let me tell you, it was an already orchestrated, well-planned activity to make sure that the state of emergency is being declared in Rivers State by the president and his political ally. So we keep on saying, we don't know what Wike has given to the president. And like some person has also raised, and say that he's Tinubu the president of Nigeria or Wike is the president of Nigeria. Because Wike seems to control everything the president does. The president does not seem to have grip over the country any longer. It is now Wike who determines what happens, who gets what appointment, who gets does not get what in the country. It is sad, it is unfortunate, and it is shameful.
Let's now go back to President Tinubu's national broadcast where he declared the state of emergency in Rivers State. He criticized the governor for remaining silent about the pipeline explosion and vandalism and failing to take action. Do you think that the governor's inaction, or silence I should say, means consent to the violence that rocked the state? That's talking about the pipeline vandalism and explosion.
Let me say this. I'm a Rivers man. I've been in Rivers State for the past 8 months. I've lived in Rivers State for the past 8 months, and I just only recently moved back to Abuja because of a few things I need to sort out and all that. I must tell you that Rivers State is peaceful, and everything they have talked about in the news are all false. Let me tell you, the whole thing, they needed to do all that to rope the governor in and to give the president a ground to declare a state of emergency. Let me tell you something. I'll remind you of something that happened last year. We had a situation where after the local government elections, pro-Wike supporters destroyed and burned down local government secretaries. At least all local government secretaries were burned down in Rivers State. What did the president say? Did the president condemn it? Did the president take any action? Were the people arrested, those who perpetrated the action, are there without any arrest up to today? Because they are supporters of an extension, the president, who are carrying out that particular thing. Rivers State are largely peaceful. He is in charge of pipeline in the country. Is it the governor that is in charge of pipeline? Is it the governor that is in charge of those installations? Let me tell you for free. But the governor has no business with it. So if you cannot be accusing the governor for not condemning a pipeline explosion in the state. You're now accusing the governor. So on the strength of that, the governor gave a nod to it, and you now declare a state of emergency. All the killings across the country, how many has the president condemned? So can we now say that the president is in league with all those bandits that are international killings and kidnapping in the north? So it tells you that this was an already planned out thing which they have carried out to make sure that they declare a state of emergency in Rivers State. And I can tell you for free, there are reports we are getting now. There's a report we are getting now that some persons from this same government are going down to the prisons to get people who have already been condemned in the prison and to parade them, and they would have to confess and say, oh, it was that they were the ones who threw the bomb in the pipeline, and that they were sent by the governor to do that. You know, they are orchestrating things like this. There's already a chance that this is about to happen, and that they will be parading them today. And if this is done, it tells you the type of country we have found ourselves. Because let me tell you, both the Attorney General of the Federation, as well as the President, have been looking for ways to justify this action and to tie everything around the government. Have they talked about anything about the visibility of the FCC who have orchestrated the problems within the state for this long? Did they say anything about the House of Assembly? It tells you that, see, a lot is actually wrong. A lot is actually wrong. And that this was a sinister plan that was made against the government and the people of Rivers State. Somebody does not like the people of Rivers State. Somebody just wants to suffer the people of Rivers State. And somebody wants to siphon the monies belonging to the people of Rivers State. Because you would ask yourself, why will the president say he is releasing an allocation the Supreme Court has said cease until there is a budget in Rivers State? You're saying you're releasing those allocations to the sole administrator you appointed. Is the sole administrator coming to build roads for Rivers State? Is the sole administrator coming to build schools for Rivers State? The sole administrator is doing none of those things. But we are now giving them Rivers funds. To do what with exactly? It tells you that they already have a plan, and what they are only doing is to carry out that particular plan. Nothing more, nothing less.
Chef Tam Nwala will continue this conversation after this break. Do stay with us. The program will continue shortly. Welcome back. We're still discussing the state of emergency that President Bola Tinubu declared in Rivers State and the approval of the Senate and the House of Reps of that proclamation. Legal expert Cheftam Nwala is still my guest on the program. Now, before the president's action, Governor Fubara had claimed that he was locked out of the House of Assembly that's in Rivers State when he wanted to represent the 2025 budget based on the Supreme Court's order. He had also set March 19. However, the Assembly denied locking the governor out of the complex. Who then should be held accountable here? Because both sides are throwing blames at each other.
First of all, I have on different fora and even on other television stations faulted the action of the governor where he went to the House of Assembly. Because there are procedures and ways of doing these things. You know, when you send a correspondence to the House of Assembly, you would first of all the House of Assembly must first of all receive the correspondence, and when they receive the correspondence would have to be read on the floor of the House to members. If you say you want to come and present budget and you have written to the House of Assembly, when the House of Assembly receives the letter, the Speaker will read it to the House of Assembly and say the governor has communicated us and said he wants to present this budget on so and so day. And the House will not approve of a particular day that they would allow for the governor to come and present that same budget. You gave a letter today around 2 o'clock. By the next morning, 10 a.m., you're already at the House of Assembly to present budget. That was a very wrong move by the government. Completely and a total wrong move by the government. The government is not getting any response from the House of Assembly. I faulted that particular position, and the governor also realized that, and later on, the previous week, had sent a letter to the House of Assembly saying that by Wednesday, we are going to come to make a proper presentation of the budget, which is a commendable move. But unfortunately, before the said Wednesday, we saw a declaration of state of emergency in the state. So on that particular issue, I think the governor did not act properly. The governor acted in bad faith. He didn't act well. And whoever must have advised him to take that particular action did advise him wrongly.
Now, you remember that the House of Assembly had issued an impeachment notice against Governor Fubara. Given this development, do you think that the State House of Assembly made things easier for the governor? And is the governor shielded from impeachment, as many believe, now that there's a state of emergency in Rivers State?
The point is the issue of impeachment. It is within the right of the House of Assembly to carry out an impeachment notice or impeachment against the governor who has held or has contravened any section of the Constitution and has not kept to his oath of office. It is within the right of the House of Assembly. But another issue is whether those allegations raised against the governor would have been proven in the circumstance. Now, if those allegations were not proven in the circumstance, then the impeachment process would have failed, because you know the law in section 188 that has said that once this has stipulated the processes and procedures, how an impeachment process can be carried out. And you know, apart from what the assembly will do, there is a position of the chief judge who would have to set up a 7-man panel that will look at the allegations against the governor. And the panel will invite the governor to make representations through his legal practitioners as well as the accusers of the governor. And based on the finding of the 7-man panel, an impeachment can be carried out or cannot be carried out. If the panel finds him wanting, then the governor will be impeached. But when the panel does not find him wanting, then the governor will be exonerated. That is the law. But in the circumstances of Rivers State, we saw a situation where some of us that said that the impeachment process against the governor is premature. But however, since you said an impeachment process against the governor, continue with it. Continue with it. Let us see how it happens. Let us see what happens with it. So, and they continue with it, and of course, one of the reasons, and I keep on saying this, one of the reasons why you have a state of emergency in Rivers State, it is because they know that they could not continue with the impeachment process of the governor. They have called the chief judge to play ball with them. The chief judge has refused to play ball. The only option they have now was to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State that was peaceful, that had no need for a state of emergency. And today they are trying to justify the state of emergency in the state. So I must tell you that the actions of the House of Assembly is not unconstitutional. But the question is whether they would have gotten a proper impeachment in the circumstance or not. So the president should have allowed the process to conclude. But no, they intervened and interrupted the entire process, which is sad and really unfortunate.
Now, this crisis has lingered for quite a long time. Why has it been so difficult for political actors in Rivers State to come to an agreement, at least for the benefit of the people of Rivers State now?
Well, Rivers State has a history of not resolving political crisis. It is winner takes it all in Rivers State. Unlike Lagos State and other states, the reason is because no one man controls Rivers State like Lagos State and other states, where you find a situation where Tinubu could sit anywhere he would sit and control it, and who becomes governor of Lagos State and other. In Rivers State is a different case. In Rivers State, we have independent-minded people who decide to do things the way they want to do it, and all that. And the issue of godfatherism is not again. Remember when I made you trying to bring in Dakuku as well as Tony Gold in Rivers State, you see Rivers people rejected it. The same thing has also happened. Even where we succeeded in modeling Rivers people to produce the successor, we are also seeing that the successor is standing against it. Because we are naturally known to be people who do not align ourselves to godfatherism and all that. So now the crisis over time in Rivers, the history of Rivers crisis has shown that Rivers people, it is difficult to call them to the round table to resolve issues. Because let me tell you, we are a proud people. Our people are majorly proud, and sometimes this ego usually plays into this issue of leadership. And that is why political tussles do not end until somebody loses out eventually. Like in Rivers, when the crisis between Amity and Wike started, we saw that crisis never ended until there was a victor and there was a value. And the same thing would happen in this one. Even if we are hoping that at some point, the resolution that the Senate has come up with some respected persons in society waging it. Now, if we look at the Rivers community and the elders, you discover that those elders would have naturally relied on to resolve this crisis have all taken sides. And it makes it difficult for this issue to be resolved. So these are some of the challenges with Rivers and the peculiarity of our situation. And that's why it is difficult to get this thing sorted out and resolved.
It's quite surprising that despite the presence of many senior elder statesmen now in Rivers State, they've been unable to resolve this crisis at some point. Some even started taking sides. Would you say that they were complicit in escalating the crisis?
Well, they were part of it. They are part of the crisis. They joined in escalating the crisis. Of course, Wike has his own elders. The governor has his own elders. And we will see each of these elders issuing up press statements and all that on different political issues happening within the state. And this has also further fueled the crisis within the state. It was so bad that even religious leaders were also a part of this crisis. Religious leaders also took sides in the whole matter. So it's an unfortunate situation for Rivers State that even our elders had to take the stand they took. So if our elders didn't take the stand they took, maybe they would have been able to resolve this. But because they are taking stands on the issue, it became difficult for them to help to resolve the issue of ground.
Of course, yeah, the PDP and other opposition figures have rejected President Tinubu's decision, accusing him of intentionally trying to take control of Rivers State. The PDP claims that the APC is deliberately inciting the crisis to ultimately disrupt democracy in Rivers State. How would you react to this?
Well, even as much as the PDP is correct in their press statement, but we know that the PDP they are all political jobbers. They are only just looking for an opportunity to cash in and grab power. It is not like they are better off. They are the same thing. These are politicians, and for me, I don't take politicians seriously. I say when the issue, even if, of course, like I said before, what they are saying is true and it is correct, that the action of the president is wrong. But the truth be told, these are politicians. And they're only doing that because they're in the opposition. They are not a part of the ruling party. And of course, don't forget, this same president has criticized Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan for declaring a state of emergency. They did declare state of emergency. So today, he was in the opposition. Today he is president, and he is declaring state of emergency, which is quite funny and unfortunate. So these are politicians. You don't take politicians seriously. You don't even take their words seriously, because tomorrow when they have opportunity in the same circumstance, they will still do the same thing. They don't care about people. They only care about their interests. They only care about the next election. So the PDP say whatever they have said, are only interested in the next election. And it's really unfortunate. But let me also say further that as an opposition political party, the PDP ought to take other steps than the steps they have taken so far. They are not playing the role of the opposition. Well, you cannot also blame them so much because the president has also used Governor Wike, Minister Wike to demystify and to destroy the party. So it has weakened the PDP. PDP is now more like a paper tiger where they just wake up in the morning, issue a press statement that holds no water, and that is all. So it's really unfortunate. But we commend them for making that press statement, but we know the beyond the press statement, they should take further action. They could bring up legal action against both the president and the National Assembly. But of course, they are docile. They can't do more than that. And that is what they are known for now.
Well, the National Assembly has agreed that the state of emergency can be reviewed and terminated at any time within the initial 6 months based on progress on peace moves. We'll wait and see what happens before and after the 6-month period, rather. Legal practitioner Cheftam Nwala, thank you very much for coming on the program and for sharing your thoughts with us. We appreciate. Well, that's all we have on the program. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Good day and welcome to your favorite sport program on TV360 Sports. I am Mudashiru Shitu. So in the next few minutes, we'll be looking at an interesting topic that's been one of the fastest developing sport in the country. And for those of you wondering that what's this in front of me, I mean, the cat will still leave the bag. I mean, I'll build the cat out of the bag right now because it's obvious that I cannot hide who my guest is. When it comes to archery, there's no other person in this part of the world than our national athlete and somebody who has invested time and resources for the development of archery in the country. He has done so well for himself and the country in winning medals for Nigeria. And he is the founder of Zen Archery Club. And this is the first time, you know, in a long while in the country that if you want to play football, you go to the stadium. If you want to play basketball, you go to the stadium. There's also something you can also do at the stadium. And that's where, just talking about archery, where there's first ever archery hub in any stadium, in any facility in Nigeria, and that's talking about Zen Archery Club. It's good to welcome the man behind it, Emmanuel Yeleke, in the building.
Thank you, Mr. Mudashiru.
It's good to have you again.
It's really good to be here again.
Yeah,
actually.
My question will go this way, my friend. What has been pushing you to always promote archery? It seems that should be the question, because when we Google, we find out information, everything about archery in the country as a way of linking back to you.
What's pushing me to promote archery the way I do?
Yeah.
I would say it's passion. I would say at some point it will be purpose also. Earlier on in my years as a teenager, as a developing adult, I found the role of sports in helping the career or the trajectory of a human. I found it very fascinating because it happened to me. I found sports early, and sports played a very vital role in my development as an adult. Even in my education, sports played a very vital role. I was in school on scholarship for 3 years in my university because I was engaged in sports. So today, I don't think I'll be who I am today without sports. And that's important for me to promote sports, especially archery, the way I am doing it. So it's passion for me.
Well, at this stage that you've done so remarkably well, country, that anybody that wants to shoot or participate or practice archery goes to a stadium, and that stadium is the same Balogun Stadium, where we have the Zen Archery Club.
Yes.
What also propels you to do something extraordinary? Because it could have been off the stadium, it can have been elsewhere.
Yeah, I think this particular development, I would give thanks and I would say the glory, but I will give glory to God, and also the support that we've enjoyed from the Lagos State Sports Commission. It's been massive ever since the first time we announced that we were doing the Zen Archery Lagos Open Championship last year, and we invited the Lagos State Sports Commission to witness the sports spectacle. I think they've been really fascinated by all that we've done. They've supported us, thrown their weight behind us. And it's been approached for a space to practice facility. The reception was amazing. It was like, oh, well, you know what? Let's look around. Immediately we swung to action. Check wherever it is there is space for archery. Wherever the space is suitable, please let us know. We'll give you the support. And obviously the support of the Lagos State Archery Association has been really immense also. So it was a no-brainer. Bringing archery to the stadium would bring new crop of people, new footfall, a different demographics of people to the stadium, and it's just remarkable because the stadium is a hub of activity for sports, and now it makes it for people to be able to access, and we've seen a lot of increase even in the inquiries we're getting. From people coming to play table tennis, coming to play volleyball, coming to play badminton at the stadium, to seeing archery, and everybody is coming to the archery range to ask us, oh, how can we be a part of it? How can my son be a part of it? So I think it's really remarkable, the kind of collaboration we're able to have with the arm of the government. It's a public-private partnership that we're talking about now, and we're going to see it yield a lot of good results. Okay. So, yes.
Well, so also one aspect of archery that a lot of people will always want to talk about, and that's talking about the young ones, the young lads, because the Southwest Games where archery participated for the first time. We're still going to talk about the Southwest Games. But how will this propel young lads to participate in archery?
Yes, I think the best thing we can do is to catch them young. We've seen the way the young lads, 11-year-old Mogbolade of Olafusi, of Zen Archery, of Lagos, you can see the performance, 11-year-old beating all the other contestants, just because of the training that they've been able to inculcate, the discipline, and the way they've been able to learn the skill. I think if they keep this momentum, what we're looking at is in the next 4 years, in the next 8 years, we'll have athletes that will be competing on the world stage, even that will be able to win Olympic medals for Nigeria on the world stage, at Olympics, at World Championships. That's what we're looking at. far from it where, I mean, it's important, like you said, if you're to an advanced stage, they will tell you that it's important for you to start early. Any sports, whatever it is, because early enough, these kids are able to assimilate faster. They don't have so much on their mind. They're able to concentrate more if they are passionate about the game, and that's the same thing that is happening with archery now. We did a boot camp last year, and that was where we discovered Ubolade. Yes, and the brother actually. So since then they've joined the club at Ilupeju. The mom brings them to the club. They've been doing exceptionally well, and we've seen the results also. Mubolade, only him won 4 gold medals for Lagos State. Yes, so it's remarkable, and that's the feat we can always repeat and put up even at international tournaments if we continue to nurture the talents and bring these guys up to perfect their skills. So
now let's start also, a lot of our viewers will probably know that the Southwest Games is a game that just took place in Nigeria. And when we talk about the Southwest Games, it's about the state under the Southwest region of Nigeria. And for the first time, archery was involved. And not just involved as an exhibition, it was a score point record for the first time that let's not clarify this. Has there been any national or regional event that archery has participated in and is a point scoring event?
None that I know of.
None that I know of.
Yes, in recent history, I don't think archery has ever been part of any national games, vis-a-vis youth games or
National Sports
Festival, and has been a point scoring game. I don't think there's been any events like that. This is the first time it will be. Yes.
Obviously, that's the fact, and the fact is that the National Sport Festival has not made archery has not participated in a National Sport Festival before. But albeit I know that it has participated at the Youth Games as an exhibition game in Ilorin.
Yes.
I saw that. That I was there, so I know it exists, but not
as a medal counting.
As a medal counting. So this is the
first
first
medal
time.
Scoring. No.
And what does it mean to the organizers of Southwest Games?
I think it just lends credence to the resilience and relentlessness of also the organizers, but I will also say without the support of the Lagos State Sports Commission, we probably wouldn't have been able to achieve this feat, because when the Southwest Games was announced, archery wasn't part of it. So we had to lobby and make efforts and write letters and proposals for archery to be, and make a case for archery to be included at the Southwest Games. And without the efforts of also the Lagos State Sports Commission, especially the DG Director General Lekan Fatodu, I don't think this would also be possible, because he personally put his word behind our letters and called the organizers that, oh, I want this to also be part of it. And I just don't want it to be just an exhibition game. I want it to be a medal scoring. So we put all that effort in, and we've seen the results that he yielded. It was a colorful event. It was a fantastic event. And I know that because of this, going forward, archery would no longer be relegated as an optional sport, or we've also continued conversations even after the Southwest Games as to how would have it been exhibited again, maybe at the National Sports Festival, right? And this is not in advanced stages yet, but obviously I'm sure there will be conversations for that to happen, and then maybe the next National Youth Games, it will be a medal scoring event at the next Youth Games. So we're making efforts for this to be possible. We're talking to the stakeholders and making sure that at least we're able to get the necessary support we need to take this game to the next level.
And I also believe the possibility of what you just said, because at the last Access Bank Lagos City Marathon, the governor of the state, Mrs. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, said that Lagos State will probably be hosting the next Youth Games.
Fantastic.
Next year.
Yes.
And archery definitely have to be. So have you gotten to the stage that, yes, archery should be a country?
No. Definitely not. We are not yet there, but we're working seriously towards getting there. There's so many things. Do one thing. The buy-in of the stakeholders is one thing. Development of facilities is another thing. The necessary support from the public and private sector is also another thing. So all this, a combination of all this is what gives rise to the success or failure of any sport. So we're working, even as a stakeholder, as we are, as a private stakeholder, we're working so much towards this in our own little way. We've put together a befitting facility at Teslim Balogun Stadium, which is one of the first steps that we can take in making sure that this dream comes to fruition. Facilities are important. That's just a tiny slice of the dream, because the dream eventually, the dream eventually is to be able to have high performance centers dedicated to archery, for archery to be able to excel even in Lagos State and also in Nigeria as a whole. So it's a whole lot of things that we need to do, but we're taking steps towards it, towards getting there. Yes.
Well, to me, after covering and understanding archery for a very long time, it has been one milestone or the other.
Yes.
What we are seeing right now is the Zen archery.
Yes, that was last year.
That was last year.
Yes.
After then, we had
We've had a few
Southwest game.
No, we've even before then. I mean, we've had Abuja. We've had Arch Club.
In
we
Abuja.
have Shooters Club in
okay.
Abuja. We've gone outside Nigeria. We went to Cote d'Ivoire and we came second. Even with the Tizokata, we competed with other African countries. Nigeria was second at that event. We've had several other engagements. We've had the boot camp. Which was organized, the youth boot camp last year, which was organized by Zen Archery, and more recently, last week, we had the Southwest Games. Yes.
And what was the next
major event? There will be two events. I would say the major launch of the archery facility at Teslim Balogun. That's the launch of the range and the archery arena. I won't let the cat out of the bag now, but we're going to launch the archery arena this month in April. But right after then, we've already started preparing for that. Will be the second edition of the Lagos Zen Archery Lagos Open International Tournament. Right now, last year it wasn't international. But this year we're training it open. We're inviting other participants from other African countries to come into Lagos to compete for glory.
Okay, before we concentrate our time on that one you're talking about, we'll go on this quick break. And when we come back, there's so much for you to come up for archery in Nigeria.
Relax. That is my brother, and I want him out of this station now. Okay. Can I just see the IPO of this case? IPO. How are you?
No, welcome, sir.
That is my brother, and I want him out of this station now.
Do you know the offense you are looking, sir?
What do you guys want for the weekend? Okay. Let me see your DPO.
This way, sir.
Oh, better. You don't know me here. That boy is my brother. I want you to assist me to free him.
The man found the gun, confessed robbery.
Things like this happen. 200,000 naira for you.
Are you bribing me?
500,000 naira.
Robbery suspect?
1 million naira.
That is corruption. Not allowed in this division.
1 million.
Remember, police your friend. Giving and taking bribe is wrong.
Corruption, not in my country.
Corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. Let's not forget we have Emmanuel Yeleke here, the CEO of Zen Archery, still with us, and you can see the bow an arrow. It's bow.
Yes.
Is that an arrow here?
No,
there's not an arrow. This is just the bow. From what hunters use, but that's just the beginning these years of.
Yes.
So now there's something happening in Lagos, and a lot of Nigerians we want to know if you are thinking of to practice archery or you want to take part in archery. The Tosin Balogun Stadium is the place to be.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Zen Archery has brought that to you. But tell us about Zen Archery 2.0, like I would like to call it.
Yes.
That is now an international event. Last year, I'm sure you'll be able to see some of the videos at the Tosin Balogun Stadium where it was just a national event. And there was many archery clubs came all the way from Nigeria, Ogun State, Abuja, Ekiti, the Southwest region, and some other part of the countries came there. And now what you're seeing right now is not the Tosin Balogun Stadium, not yet completed, but that's the Zen Archery Hub at the Tosin Balogun Stadium. But we're now looking forward to the Zen Archery Lagos Open International.
Yes.
Tell us more about that.
It's going to be another spectacle because last year when we ran the Zen Archery Open Championship, Lagos Open Championship, it was something, it was unprecedented. It had never happened. A few things that never happened. Obviously, a tournament of such scale. Such scale had not happened in archery in Nigeria. We never had outs. We had over 90 archers participating. That's pretty much all I've gone to some countries to do archery. That's the entire population of archers that they have in the country, in some countries. So it was remarkable that even though we ran that just 3 months into our existence club, it was that successful. It held in Tosin Balogun Stadium. But this time around, we are trying it open. We're making it international. We're inviting all our archer friends from all over. We've sent letters to different African countries, and a few of them have signified interests to come. A few of them have said, because of financial constraints, they're not able to make it, but we're still expecting well over 150 archers, almost 200 archers that we're expecting. This time around, it's happened at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena, Unicon Stadium. It's going to happen from June 18th. Prices the last time, but this time it's going to even be more because we're hoping to get more sponsorship. We're hoping to fill up the stadium on the last day. We're hoping that, we're trying to see if we can have collaborations also with some musicians to come in, make it a fun engagement for even the participants and the spectators. On the last day, we're going to have bands playing. We're going to have halftime shows, almost like a spectacle, halftime shows, calisthenics, different thing, anything that will make it interesting. Yes, and sensational. What we're going to have, and it's going to be a lot more standard this time because our standard last year and our standard this year, we've experienced a lot of growth from what we had last year, and it's just going to be amazing.
Massive.
It's going to be massive.
Let me cut you short.
Yes.
What was the need to do a second edition?
What's the need to do a second edition? I think one of the major things that we can do in order to grow sports in Nigeria is also have tournaments that even the athletes look up to and say, you know what, this is what I'm preparing towards. As I speak to you, some athletes have started training towards June. Yes, and specific, measured, targeted training towards June, not just training because they love archery. So I think that's one of the effects that having regular competitions will have on the general growth of the sports. If there's nothing for you to look forward to, why should you train? Do you understand? But when there's a specific event that is prestigious that you can look forward to, we're making medals, not just medals that you buy off the market, medals. So it's something of pride.
Signature,
yes, for you to it's a
so
personal
we can say
achievement.
2020 is probably the year of archery.
Absolutely.
From the Southwest Games to international
to
open, the launching of
absolutely
of the
absolutely.
hub and all that.
Yes, absolutely. We're looking to just blow up.
So there's
the
not
entire
definitely no
space.
excuse, especially those that stay in Lagos. archery is nowhere to be found.
Oh yeah. So I think one of the things is we need to really make noise about archery because not enough people know about it.
Okay.
There's been, I mean, we've gone to the stadium and the reaction every time is, oh, so this game is in Nigeria. Oh, this game is in Nigeria, and that's the reaction we've gotten from a lot of people, even where we go. I was in church last Sunday, and we did a demonstration in church, Fountain of Life Church.
Okay.
And everybody, even after the service, I became Brother Bow and Arrow.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so if nobody, like people don't know that it exists. So we really need to take the gospel of archery. Yeah, we need to propagate it. And enough people know about it, then the great game will grow.
Okay.
Yes.
I won't let you go without you telling us this mechanized bow. I mean, what stuff is this made of?
So this is a composite where we have aluminium we have steel, we have carbon also. Okay. So this is a type of bow which is called bow. We have different categories of bows. Okay. We have the bow, we have the recurve bow, we have the compound bow, we have the long bow, we have the traditional bows.
Okay.
We have.
Is that any? Does it mean there's one advanced bow than the other?
Well, I wouldn't say advanced, but I would say categories. Okay. So even when you go for competitions, you have to enter the competition according to the category that you want to participate in. So that's what it is. But this is a compound bow. Okay. The mechanism of a compound bow is that it uses limbs. This is the riser, but it also has pulleys to increase the amount of force or kinetic energy generated from the limbs. So you're putting your arrow here and you're drawing it back with.
So what's this?
That's called a sight. A sight is something that can help you focus on a particular target, and then you'll be able to hit the target. That's what this is.
The range you're having that
yes.
in Zen, what range is that?
I would say it's a maximum 38-meter range. You can get 40 meters out of it, but I think it's still a very good starting point for anybody that wants to learn. We shoot about 70 meters at competitions, but the good thing about it is because we are right there in the stadium, whenever we need to train for 70 meters, we enter the main bowl. We set up there and we shoot 70 meters. Whenever we're training for the club activities, we are within the range. So it's such a win-win situation for us. And I would mention something because since we've moved to the stadium, there's been an increased inquiry. I mean, there's been an increased awareness, and we find all sorts of people coming in and asking, how can they learn? And because of this, we realize that there's some underserved communities where, because of the kind of game that archery is, we might not be able to afford the training. So we're I wouldn't say category, we are creating an initiative of Zen archery, which would cater to having an academy or having a foundation will pick up. That would receive entries for underserved children from underserved communities, definitely less than 18 years old, and would have cohorts for them where we can train specific talents, and then they can graduate out of that to become team members of Team Lagos, team members, team members of the national team, and can go on to do great things in life. So that's part of going forward.
That plan will also be reported about on the launching of the
absolutely at the launch. We'll talk
it's always good having you on the show.
Same here. Thanks for all this.
Emmanuel Leke has been doing for admissions going on. Most of the time it's just the promotion.
Yes,
of the sport.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
thank you so much. Thank you. It's always a pleasure being here.
It's always a pleasure to have you here too.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We've been talking with Emmanuel Oyeleke. He is the founder of Zen Archery Club and the first person ever to create an hub for archery in any stadium in the country. Before, we had the Zen Archery Club at the Tosin Balogun Stadium in Lagos. If you go to look for archery anywhere, you won't find it anywhere in the stadium. But with his initiative and the support of Mr. Lekonfe and also the Lake Chairman, who is the chairman of Lagos State Sports Commission, the Sport Commission itself, the entire Lagos State government for giving that initiative. So if you want to Party's archery, you just have to go to the Telsim Balogun Stadium in Lagos. And we're just looking for the launching of that hub. I'm sure you've seen some of the videos as you listen to us also. And let's not forget, we are having Zen Archery Lagos Open in State and other state have come. So, like the name indicates, Lagos State at the Onikon Stadium come June. More of this and many more, we'll be letting you to know when the time gets closer. And this is how we're going to spend the rest of the day. Thank you for being part of today's program. And if you want to join us on all our social media platforms, you can join us on our Facebook account, X account, and not forgetting an Instagram and other accounts we have to relate back to you what we discussed today. I'm Mudashishi. Bye for now.
Hello and welcome. I am Deji Barimasi. Now, amid debates over the emergency rule in Rivers State, the sole administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ibas, has suspended all political appointees, including all boards and their management. Those affected include the Secretary to the State Government, the Chief of Staff, all commissioners, chairpersons and members of boards, agencies, special advisors, special assistants. The suspension 6/2025 and to hand over to the MDAs. In a statement, with the powers vested in the administrator, following his swearing in as sole administrator of Rivers State on March the 19th, Ibas, who is a former chief of naval staff, out to ensure that order is restored in the 6 months of the emergency rule. Let me also say this, that as governors of the PDP, about 6 of them have decided to approach the Supreme Court as well to seek interpretation as to whether the president has the powers to declare emergency, not just declare emergency now, but to suspend the democratically elected governor of Rivers State, the State House of Assembly, as well as the deputy governor. Well, the case is now before the Supreme Court, and before long, I want to believe all of this argument, the legal position of things when it comes to the declaration of emergency in any part of the country. But joining me now to discuss all of this further is the governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Rivers State in the 2023 governorship election, Dan Princewill Fafa. I also have Wisdom Chap Jumbo, who's a public affairs analyst now. He joins us from Rivers State. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. Let me start with you, Mr. Fafa. Any surprise at all that the sole administrator took the action he did by suspending all political appointees?
Quite frankly, I do not know how a sole administrator would work with a political appointees, especially those who are not for statutory tenured positions. I believe that the issue really is whether or not the appointment of a sole administrator is appropriate or is constitutional.
Legitimate, yeah,
constitutional. That is already in court, but practically, I don't see how sole administrator would just step into the shoes of a governor and start operating with the people that the governor had appointed. I think that would be a practical, there will be practical issues there. However, clearly, for those who are tenured and those whose positions are a little bit more statutorily protected and who are quasi-political, not quite working at the beck and call of governor, perhaps those could have been.
Like what positions would you mean?
For example, you have parastatals.
The board chairmen had been appointed and all of that.
Yeah, some board chairmen, I would say, they don't interact with the governor from day-to-day business. They are not, I do not see the need for all of them to be removed. But clearly there are many. If the sole administrator want to have a free hand, he would have to appoint himself. I think I understand that,
Okay, Wisdom, what's your take on this?
Mr. Fafa has already said it, which I agree with him. For a sole administrator to be able to function effectively, there is need to indeed suspend those political positions and appointments so that there is some form of neutrality to be able to give the administrator and also to be able to effect. Remember, we are in a state of emergency, so it's not we're not in the normal times. So these measures put in place, I believe, are just put in place to be able to help the administrator do what the assignment he has, which is to ensure that he restores peace and other. But like Mr. also, there are some positions I think maybe all of them shouldn't have been affected, but we are not sure what the directive became. Extend those suspension to most of those positions. There are some of the board parastatal position, but in general, I think the essence is to allow him work, because we saw that some appointees of the governor were still issuing press releases. We tried to warn most of them that, look, you guys really need to be careful and allow the administrator to work. Whether you agree or not, the issue is in court to determine whether putting him there in the first place is legal or not. We'll allow the Supreme Court to let us know. But some of them were still issuing press releases, that we feel like they should have just put a hold on to it since the governor and the deputy governor and the House were in suspension. And most specifically, the chief press secretary to the governor will continue to issue, in many press releases, even when he didn't have access to the governor to get direction. So that was really disturbing at the time. But this is where we are now.
Okay, let me ask you, Mr. Fafa.
Yes.
We're waiting. We're going to get. There's going to be a clarity over this, long drawn argument as to whether the president has the right, not just to declare emergency, but to also suspend an elected governor. I mean, the Supreme Court will have to, decide. I believe, probably. Let us. Why do you think the crisis got worse, escalated to the level that the president had to intervene and declare a state of emergency? What exactly would you say, worsened the crisis? That the elders, political elders in Rivers State could not even resolve it. Elders in the South region could not even resolve it.
No, it is not that the elders could not resolve it. It is not that River State citizens could not. It's the nature of problem, in my mind, that does not allow itself to be resolved. It wasn't a dispute, to be resolved. You see, basically, The issue was that since...
It wasn't a dispute to be resolved?
No, not really, because since 1999, what happened, and I've had cause to discuss this a few times, even publicly. Since 1999, Rivers State entered a political situation in which there was some kind of a broken platform, okay? In 1999, what happened was that the elders of the state got together and zoned the governorship to what we call the upland. It's upland riverine in politics in Rivers State. The old Bayelsa was part of Rivers State at the time. When Bayelsa State was created, it was now a new state. How the zoning should be and all of that came up. You know, I remember distinctly that especially it was the Jaw leaders, the Calabari leaders to be specific, who brokered the idea that it should be zoned to the upland. Okay, and when it was zoned to the upland, which meant that the mainstream major candidates from the river, and I myself and Subrekon were the two main candidates at the time, did contest the election, and Dr. Peter Odili became the governor.
The governor, yeah.
Okay. And when Dr. Peter Odili became the governor, there were complaints and disputes, and some people thought it should have gone to the Ikwere because they are the largest group in the upland, or not the largest, but they are one of. The Ogoni is also a very large group, you know, in the upland. But it didn't turn out that way. So somehow, when Dr. Odili concluded and now chose another upland candidate. Amechi, it became...
He did not choose him anyway.
Well,
we know how it played out.
No, he chose him at the beginning. He was his candidate at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's just that...
That's true.
It's just that he moved from Amechi to Umehia, Oakland, person. And then after that, progressively, River State political situation got what I would call a smaller and smaller catchment. Okay? Because when that platform broke, the Amechi people were angry. But unfortunately, into power after that. Then his platform broke again when Nyesom Wike and him, though both Ikwere. So each new political cycle got the group smaller and smaller and smaller. Right now, it is Nyesom Wike's group that was in power. They had excluded even the Amechi group. And that group...
And of course, the group
broke again.
They brought in somebody from the riverine area.
And then they brought in...
for equity.
Well, that's another long story.
Well, you could say for equity.
Anyway, but the way you say it, but it was very clear that the state was not going to accept another. So that Fubara came in, okay, issue again with another platform. So we have a situation in River State where the political grouping in power has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller, leaving a large number of people outside.
But my question is this: even within this smaller grouping, why? I mean, you have, you have some leaders, what you call elder statesmen in the states, beyond politics. Why were they not able to resolve this?
That's what I'm telling you, that the nature of the breakage of platforms, they could not, you can't reconcile when you don't know what they're fighting over. You can't reconcile when you don't know, you don't understand, you don't know where the skeletons are buried. So what the issue really has been is that, now when we hear agreement is agreement, what really is the agreement?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone, even in the political groups, I don't think very many people know what the issues are. So I don't think it's a failure on the part of River State elders. I don't accept that. I don't think it's a failure on the part of well-meaning people.
The reason I brought this up, and yes, to some extent, and let me come to you, Wisdom. Part of the reasons why somehow I have a feeling that, look, the elders also failed to resolve this. When they had that meeting with the president, some of the elders were there. I mean, they were there. And you would expect that after that meeting with the president, the elders would have called, all the sides together and sit down and resolve. But after that meeting with the president, some of the elders even now descended and started making statements and pronouncements that were not helpful at all, clearly taking sides.
Okay, thanks, JD. So,
DG, actually,
most respectfully, JD rather, most respectfully, I want to disagree with Mr. Fafa. Look, our elders in Rivers State, the reason why this problem has not been solved till today is that the elders, they took a side. So some elders stood with Wike, the other elders stood with Sim, they took a side. When there are crises like this or when there are issues like this, we can't go to elders to find a solution if we know that the elders have already decided in their heart who to stand with. So that's where the issue is. So no, there are elders that should have solved this, but the elders are divided. And I like that he has given a background on the political history or journey of the states. And truthfully, that's where we are coming from to where we are now. But what we are seeing today is that in 2023, many people forgot how it produced Governor Fubara. The campaign, which some of us, when we supported Fubara to be governor, we were working on the campaign mantra of consolidation and continuity. So what was the idea is that Fubara was coming from a political family of Wike in the PDP, and the idea was to continue with the good works and the leadership of Nyesom Wike in the state and continue. So that then caused the problem. As the FD minister has spoken a few times, the issue started arguing on a structure, political structure, who takes over the structure, of the party in the state, who wants to control everything. The governor had between May 2023, May 29, 2023, to June the 17th to have conducted the LG election, but he refused to do so. Why did he refuse to do so was because he had a plan, and most people who advised him gave him that plan to say, don't do local government elections until after their tenure expires so that we can put in CTC, chairman in the local government. So the issues we see in Rivers State today began on the disagreement on what should happen to the local government. That's where the issue started. And I know the minister has spoken about this a few times. But the president called for, a peace. And in this conversation, there were 8-point agreements. In that 8-point agreement, everybody was there. Even, like we like to call him, our great-grandfather in the politics in Rivers State, Dr. Peter Odele, was there. He read, according to people that were there, the 8-point agenda to everybody in the room. And the governor was asked the question, do you agree or not disagree? He said he agrees with the plan, and his only objection, according to people who were there that narrated it, was that he said, Mr. President, my only request is that my supporters should not be victimized, and everybody agreed. They all came back to Rivers State. The governor did a broadcast and told everybody he signed that agreement and was going to keep up to it. He did 8 things from that agreement, but did not do 2 of them, which is 1, conduct local government election and represent your budget to the Constituted Assembly of 27 members led by Martins Amewule. So the issue we are in now today, many people don't say anything when we had a governor who was presenting his budget to 3 members of an assembly. Many people did not have an issue with a governor who was screening members of his cabinet with only 3 members of the assembly. Section 96 of the Constitution clearly states the quorum of an assembly before you can conduct business. And even when there were multiple, there were different court orders that were against the governor of how he was operating, some of these elders that were with him were advising him to continue with an unconstitutional process and an illegal act. He even presented the 2025 budget against a court order.
But then let me ask you this. Let me ask you, sorry to interject.
So you different process where we are coming from that led to where we are today. If only he was advised correctly and acted according to the provisions of the Constitution. I don't know how we want to solve this when we have elders.
Just hold on. I understand. I mean, we know some of those things, but let me ask you this: how does this state of emergency? How will this resolve? Because up till this moment, I have not seen, if you like, any attempt at all, from all the sides to come together. What I'm seeing is, it appears the various sides are trying to dig in, and of course, which is not in any way helpful. So for you now, what do you expect to begin to see? How should this emergency period be used to resolve?
I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah, I'm going to come to you, Mr. Fafa. I'm just going to come to you. Just hold on. You'll make a comment. So let me hear from you, Wisdom.
Okay, thank you, Deji. So we have 6 months. Quite unfortunate, I like to say, that we have a state of emergency now. All of this could have been avoided. But where's the way forward for peace? We have 6 months, and I believe that in these 6 months, all parties will begin to come together. The administrator is working to restore order, which he has done so. I mean, we have not heard any issues, from Port Harcourt, which, of course, if we didn't have this kind of emergency, things could have really gone worse. Those of us from Rivers State, we know how these things really do happen. But yes, it's an opportunity for us to reflect, for the actors in this to reflect and be able to come together. There are peace conversations indeed happening, in little segments. If the suspect with the sacked 23 local government chairmen just recently to have conversations with them, though those conversations were not public. We believe that as we go, we only had 2 weeks since the administrator resumed. So we believe in coming days, there will be different conversations that will be happening. They might be public. We don't expect really which it should be, but this is to indeed come an alignment and have a political solution to some of these issues and be able to reflect for the greater good of Rivers people.
Okay.
Because, Deji, we need to deliver governance to the people. Salaries are being owed. Things need to really move. Civil servants don't deserve, what they're experiencing in spite of all of these issues. We need to make sure that governance, keeps moving. And at the end of this state of emergency, we want to see that everybody has come to form really an alignment that moves the state forward and restore peace for us.
I think it's on that note we'll just have to leave it. But just before we go, Mr. Fafa, very quickly, because we're out of time, don't you think the two needs to probably all parties involved, just one more meeting as well?
I think the presidents, I've said this publicly, that I think the presidents need broader advice. I think the advice he gets is obviously tilted. And in Rivers State, the perception is that he's taking sides. I believe that you can't make peace successfully if the participants don't think that you are fair. And whether we like it or not, Rivers State at this point now, his own aide has created an ethnic issue out of it, which was not quite plainly so, but it is unprecedented in the history of Nigeria for a sitting minister to attack an ethnic group openly, and then to go there in a provocative manner and to... I ordinarily have a lot of sympathy and understanding for Mr. Wike in his politics, but he has way gone out of and needs to rein in and get everyone to behave properly. We certainly need a new reset in Rivers State, absolutely new. Sole administrator, I would say that he should call out, for the entire state, and people would rally around him to get a more successful conciliation.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for coming on the program and sharing your thoughts with us. And I appreciate the fact that everybody wants peace for Rivers State and development as well. And the hope is that something positive and something great will come out of this chaos that we have at the moment. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the program, and I really appreciate your coming.
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
thank you.
All right, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us, don't go away. Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
how, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
When you go into public office, you must be ready to answer to the people.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world. A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for
TV360, dissecting the issues. Back. Now, Nigeria's 20 will be some clear 2 years away, but politicians in the country are already making serious preparation for the election, especially at the presidential race now. And it's looking like we're still going to have some familiar faces in that election. Recently, key opposition is now led by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, formally announced a coalition aimed at unseating President Bola Tinubu and the ruling All Progressives Congress in 2027. Now, Abubakar was the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the 2023 race, and it's like he will be back in the race in 2027. What is really not clear at this time is whether it will be on the platform of the PDP. Interestingly, though, the coalition includes prominent figures like Peter Obi, the Labour Party candidate in the 2023 presidential race, Nasir El-Rufai, the former governor of Kaduna State and one-time chieftain of the APC, who is now of the Social Democratic Party, SDP. There's also Babachi Lawal, a former secretary to the government of the Federation and also a former member of the APC. There are other prominent political figures as well. According to them, the move is necessary to save Nigeria's democracy. Now, the official unveiling of the coalition ended weeks of speculations and uncertainty over the possibility of such an arrangement. The move has, however, been met with skepticism, while the APC now says it is not distracted. Other political leaders in other political parties have faulted the formation of the coalition and the idea of a mega party to wrestle power from the APC, saying the move is driven by personal ambition. Well, joining me now to discuss this is Lester Wilcox, who's a political affairs analyst. He joins us from Lagos. Also joining us from Abia is Sonny Maduka, another political affairs analyst. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. Let me start with you, Lester. Isn't it too early? Isn't it too early? Because it appears things are changing. The current government in power has not even done up to 2 years. And already we're talking about 2027.
Look, they say 24 hours in politics is too long a time. So 2 years in politics might be too short a time because politics is dynamic. And the earlier you start to know where you are going, where your next where you drop the next anchor, the better for you. You see, I think it's not. If you know what happened in 2015, it was a movement that started in 2012. I remember when Ebola to say, okay, let us government that election, and then we saw the result. So starting now, if any serious coalition that wants to unseat a sitting government in Nigeria, there's no time that is too early. I think they are even late because if they are really serious in carrying out their threats, and if they have to go the APC way, how APC was formed, and how APC was able to mobilize and be able to unseat a ruling party from office. So it's not too early. It's like what's there at the disposal.
But you take bunch if you like, financial bond time here, and you look at this man, former vice president does not have the kind of past, and I'm just wondering, do they have the financial resources to be able to sustain this over the next 2.5 years?
Well, before you go to war, it must cost. I'm sure the politicians, they know what it takes to run politics in Nigeria. It's not like the UK. In the UK, you can run election with a cover in your pocket. But in Nigeria, that cannot happen because you need a lot of deep to make good. We have a lot of war chests, a lot of big pockets. Most of them they came out of offices with a lot of economic EFCC case hanging on their neck, talking about how they corrupted read themselves while they were in office, even though they have not been proved guilty. So, and then they understand the game better than you and I, Deji, because we are not politicians. So they know that in terms of burning out, I don't think they will. What will burn them out is disagreement within themselves. That's what's going to burn them out, because if there is no harmonization of purpose, they will burn out. Because what made the APC to succeed was just one thing: the concession of the presidential ticket to the north and to Muhammadu Buhari. So even the Bola Tinubu that was the champion of it, stepped down his own ambition, and from onset they know this is the man we are going to give this ticket to, and so they all work towards that. But in this case now, they are just trying to come together. What will burn them out is when their interest is not recognized. That's what's going to burn them out, not necessarily source. Because at the point when their interest is beginning to clash with one another's interest, then you discover that they already burned out before the war starts.
Sonny, let me come to you. Talking about interest now, we can see that people are already making permutations. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has not hidden his desire to be the president of this. He's also, he's made it clear that he intends to run again. PT wants to run as a presidential candidate. You have El Rufai in the mix, and you have some other big names there in the mix as well. So talking about interest, what would your own permutation be now? Do you think any of these individuals now with very strong characters, I must say, very strong character, do you think any of them would be willing to bury their interest, for the sake of others?
Yeah, what happened in 2023, probably we know now. There's a lot of trajectory. More so, Nigerians are getting worried. Prior to 2015, there was clamor for change. And that was why when you asked Alexa about money or monetary muscle, I was just laughing, because 2015 wasn't about money. It was about Nigeria needing that change. If it's money, PDP will bankroll the campaign and spend a lot. The Nigerians were just after change. And even now, we have come to that trajectory. Nigerians are not looking at money. And I'm telling you, 8% of Nigerians they are looking at change. And that change is all about the politics, the policy of this president. Nigerians are going through a lot of questions. So the only people are going to have is concession.
Is what?
Concession. Can they be able to give themselves that concession, looking at Nigeria as the basic article of what they are fighting? For instance, you know, from all the ones you mentioned, can at least have Nigerians are clamoring for. And it's all over the planet, everybody at work. I wish that the 4 or 5 of them could sit down, edit their personal interest, and choose the best that suits Nigeria. As by if they are parochial, they are. I'm telling you that APC is not anywhere.
But politicians are known to be parochial. Politicians are known to, for politicians it's always about their interests. So that's where the issue is.
But this time, it's not going to be like that.
Really?
There's a lot of anger. Yeah, there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of melancholy among these ones that are trying to unseat APC. And they want to do everything possible to see that they unseat the president. But my problem about this unseating is, if you can't unseat somebody who came to power through different means and through different deformities, the incumbent, can we do that? And why we can't do that is the foundation of our electoral system. we must go back to the electoral system, electoral among this electoral flow in our electoral process. There's nothing they can do. Just like they tell you go to court and they will give you results at 3 a.m. and nothing happens. I think the basic thing we should be talking about this is how do we change our electoral law so that every vote counts, so that we don't have what we have 2023. The intimidations, harassment, the disenfranchisement, and the tribal aspect of it. If we can look at the law, I think it will help and it will give Nigerians every confidence to go there and vote and knowing that their vote will count. That is my problem. Not about it.
All right. Aleste, do you get the impression, just as Sani said, that, votes don't count? Because, I have covered elections in this country, and to the best of my knowledge, votes actually count.
Well, I agree. Vote counts because at some point you will discover that where people seriously stand decide to show their character, the votes will count in those areas. It's not to say that there are no unruly behaviors during our electoral systems, and for which, unfortunately, the courts have not been able to help us in that respect. So votes actually count. So the greatest danger is to sit back and not make your vote to count. Because like I always tell people, the votes that will be used to rig any election is the one that didn't come out to vote. Now, if you come out to vote, your vote will be counted and it will be recorded. And it is those that do not come out to vote or areas where politicians have been able to manipulate the electoral system, the voter system, to be able to use to manipulate. And whoever has the upper hand in those areas will be able to manipulate. I mean, if vote doesn't count, how come Peter Obi was able to win Lagos in 2023? So it's just because vote counts, and we should not have that notion. Yes, there is irregularities, and unfortunately, like I said, the Supreme Court in 2015 delivered a kind of judgment that disrupted a smooth election in Nigeria, and I'm very, very particular about that. In 2015. The Supreme Court, in the case of Wike versus Dakuko Peter side, set a very bad precedent that turned the hand of the clock backward. If not for that judgment, today our election would have been cleaner. That politicians would not have had any room to maneuver and to rig elections without consequences. Of the action. So votes count. But
now some of the and Sonny did raise something very important, and it's something that we've all been talking about here. The issue of interest. Now you look at this in individuals and their interest. You think when the time comes, they will be able to coalesce and probably bury their individual interest and probably pick one of them and support. Take, for instance, you think the others would want to rally around, say, an Atiku Abubakar's candidature?
Let's play back to 2023. The singular factor that put Bola Tinubu in Aso Rock is Peter Obi. That was the singular factor that put Bola Tinubu in Aso. As at then, the nation that he has a national spread. And even then, the people of the Southeast begged, the real leaders of the Southeast, because they know the implications, they begged that it would be better for Peter Obi to subsume his ambition. But unfortunately, well, let's say the Almighty God is on the side of Bola Tinubu, so it creates confusion in the camp of his enemies. So even where they saw the handwriting clearly, that individually, they still did not, Peter Obi did not. So Peter Obi was the singular factor that put Bola Tinubu in Aso Rock. Now, so Coming to 2020, forget, I mean, some people say, okay, Kwakwanso was also part of it. But forget Kwakwanso. Kwakwanso was just one state. I mean, it was just one state, Kano. And that state was a state where anybody could have gotten enough vote. But you see where P2P was able to dislodge APC from their southeast and south, and even Lagos. And then all those votes amounted to waste because it could not measure up with national votes. So 2027 will be more dynamic. But right now, there will be the geopolitical consideration between North and South. Now, the North have their 8 years, according to the unsigned or the unsigned agreement. The North have had their 8 years. So it's expected that the South have their 8 years. So now, who is more legible in the South among this coalition? P2B has lost face because I don't see where an article will help P2B, will want to consider P2B, having been the one that singular person that made it not to win the presidential election in 2023. And I don't see how either El-Rufai or whoever want to consider P2B, which is the most prominent Southern figure in that coalition. And don't forget that the APC is not sleeping. Right now, they're in power, and because they're in power, they have all the machineries, including money, including whatever, force, coercion, and like I just told you, 2015 was a watershed as far as the Supreme Court judgment is concerned about free and fair election in Nigeria. So you cannot have a free and fair election in Nigeria. I mean, it's even made worse by 2023 judgment that rendered electronic computation as a mere viewing portal, not relevant, apart from the manual. So you may not be able to have a free and fair election in a very, very long time in Nigeria. So long as those you are not able to muster the kind of muscle that the APC was able to muster during the 2015 election. So and like I said, at that coalition, Bola Tinubu was clear of his own ambition because he was the mover. He was clear that he knew he was not going to stand a chance of winning the election. That's why the President Buhari, whom he supported, knowing fully well that the North must have their 8 years, the South haven't had theirs. And so so right now, who is formidable in the South to be given that mandate? And if you can't take a Northerner, how will the South react to that Northerner? And how will he come out? So geopolitics must come into play, personality must come into play, and then what magic will they do to be able to counter the forces that APC will unleash?
I get your
so
point.
it's a long fight for them.
I get your
it's
point.
It's a long route. A very long route to freedom.
I get your point. Let me come to you, Sani Maduka. Do you scenario where we would have a repeat of what we had in 2019? That's an Atiku Obi ticket, or are you looking at an Obi Atiku ticket, or an Obi El-Rufai ticket?
Let me come. I think unless you didn't get it right, Obi never lost 2023 election. We all knew about it. Let us be frank to ourselves. We know what happened in
No. But I disagree with you. He lost the election. But let's not even go there. Let's stay on this.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, but for the Peter Obi and because of the unwritten dichotomy or written law, whereby the South must have their 8 years, I think P2P has a better chance of placing the ticket. And let me even correct this point. In 2023, Atiku never wanted to contest. Atiku said that if the presidential candidate goes to the South, he will not contest.
That was all Look, that was all political talk. I can tell you that.
No. What happened was that he contested. That was why he came up. He said it severally. He never wanted.
And you believe that?
Yeah. When he said it, so we let us believe him, and because he said it. So what I'm saying is that don't be surprised that Atiku may support the people because of their friendship, and for El-Rufai and others, and because they want APC out of the party, out of power by all means, they probably will support people. Because now we're not talking about change or sending it back to North. No, the trajectory is still residing on in the South, And as of today, the only figure you can talk about globally that can make impact is P2P. It may not be easy, but I think the interest, every one of them, will be some more popular candidate amongst them. And if you look at what is happening, at least, yes, 2023, P2P wasn't having that spread because the party he wasn't that known until he came in there. But this time around, with the kind of people that are there, and I'm sure when they are going to choose a common party, they are going to choose a party that will help in galvanizing support and every other thing that will help whoever that is going to choose. But I know that the presidency will still remain in the South. And the only person now, now, if I'm telling you, it's still the P2P, it's still the alcohol man within the South. I don't see any other person, taking it off from him.
Can I ask you this?
Yes.
Lester talked about these unwritten arrangements in Nigeria, when the presidency goes between the North and the South. So it spends a particular time in the North, and then Buhari did 8 years. So the expectation is that the presidency will be in the South for 8 years. So my question now is, don't you think some forces in the North, some people in the North might see as very that if you give him the ticket and he became president, he probably would where the presidency will stay in the South for more than 8 years. And as we speak today, part of what caused the problem in the PDP, the reason why the PDP, well, if you were to go by the argument of some of their top members in the North, why they gave the presidency the ticket to Atiku Abubakar is that they claimed, or they argued, that the South the presidency has spent too much time in the South. When you look at Yar'Adua, who was to do probably 8 years, didn't even go up to half of his term. So that, that when you do the calculation, the South had it more than the North. And you think that North now will want to sacrifice additional 4 years. That's if, for instance, they give that ticket to Obi and he won. And you expect that they will believe he will do 4 years?
Let me tell you this.
Okay.
Nigerians are not looking at right now. Nigerians are looking at the best that can help. As I the press, after press talked about anything Southeast. So maybe we made mistake. Why don't we give this to South? So the permutation is still there. I'm telling you, as of today, the orientation of Nigerians prior to 1999 has changed. Nigerians are no more looking at, even the Northerners, some of them are always coming here and saying, look, we produce all these presidents, the military presidents and whatever. What happened in the North? Have they been able to come up to match what is happening in the South? So I think the change is coming, and the change will come in such a way that once we have a good leader right now, I'm telling you, this tribal, the vacations, religion, we fizzle out. Why we are still bringing this, whatever, it's because those whom we chose have never lived up to expectations. The day we get a good leader, I'm telling you, Nigerians won't even mind. Tell the person, look, continue. We have Nigerians that are changing, and they are not going to start it based on tribe, religion. What we need now are people that can rule and showcase their stewardship scorecard in such a way that every Nigerian will benefit.
Okay.
All this and this, and what has it helped us for? Nothing, except miseries, hardship. So it's not about whether it's North or South. If the North, I'm telling you, bring the best of the persons, and Nigeria saw that this guy is okay, he's a pure nationalist, then we vote. So I'm thinking a situation whereby we can do away with this issue about the economy on those 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. No. We need a Nigerian, not a Northerner, not a Southerner, not a Westerner, a Nigerian that can look at us, galvanize Nigeria, giving us that national pride. And when you come out as a Nigerian, people will respect not where you come from or where religion, maybe first to a Nigerian who is taking every Nigerian to the map.
All right, Lester, let me give you your final word on this.
Thank God he corrected my brother Maduka.
Okay.
In 2023, Obi had no chances from onset because he couldn't have gotten the spread. So he lost the election without, anybody who is saying he didn't win, he didn't lose. He lost the election, and so sad for him. But see, going forward, the kind of momentum P2B had in 2023, that movement is gone, sincerely. So if anybody is thinking that Mr. P2B can resonate what he did in 2023, that must be just a wish thinking, because the momentum of that movement is gone. And right now, people took him just out of the old block. A lot of people that went for him was because they see him as distinct from the old block. Now, if you attach an article to P2B, of course, that's a bad ticket for the so-called obedient movement. They will not even, it will not sell the way any other ticket will have sold. And like you said, the best option for the Northerners now is to either stick with Bola Tinubu so that he will finish his 8 years and then power is batted back. Let's not kid. I don't like discussing tribalism or sectionalism. That's one thing. But I have come to see that is the reality of the day. That is just the reality of the day. There is no way the politicians will allow that interest, that unwritten rule to be broken. Even when Jonathan was what made Jonathan to lose that election was because they felt that was getting too far. He finished one term. He finished he finished Yaradua's term. Now finished his own term. So any other term will have been so much elongation, and the Northerners would not have gone in for that. And again, APC was able to get a candidate that had the Northern appeal in order for them to move on. So it's going to be a long fight for the coalition. It's going to be a hard work for them. The only thing that will save the coalition is to bury all their interests and go for a neutral person, a neutral Southerner that will have only 4 years written, signed, affidavit sworn on it in the court.
But that is not going to happen.
I am taking this job, it's going to be only 4 years, then the Northerner will take back. Anything short of that,
no way.
I tell you, the Northerners will want to, because I tell you they don't. If they agree, they will come to the public, swear an affidavit, stamp in the courts, publish everywhere, so that the post supposed to support him knows that after 4 years, though, he's not going to say, I have constitutional 2 terms.
I can tell you.
It's very difficult. So
I can tell you such an affidavit will never have any binding effect.
You remember that anymore?
27 people swear an affidavit, they said it was not true, and the Supreme Court accepted their position. I whip my country. I whip for my country.
We saw the affidavit. You and I, we saw the affidavit. We saw an open display. We saw the account where the president went
and the Supreme Court very much. The Supreme Court of Nigeria said no.
We're out of time.
My country.
We're out of time. We're out of time. Thank you very much, Lester Wilcox. Thank you very much for your time. Sonny Maduka, thanks a lot for coming on the show. We'll talk again. We still have more time to talk about this. Thanks a lot. All right, that's how much you can take on the program this week. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
L'importance de la forêt, ils prenaient leur ordure et les déposaient. Moi, je les sensibilisais de leur dire que l'arbre doit vivre comme nous, donc il ne faut pas salir l'arbre. C'est ce que nous a donné l'impact positif pour avoir ici un périmètre pour cultiver. Le 2 mai 2005, on a allé voir les eaux et forêts qui nous ont attribué 500 mètres carrés. On a initié, intégré les femmes dans un AGR. Et avec ça, on a choisi le maraîchage. On était à 3 hectares, mais on ne cultive pas sous la haute tension. Et on nous a déguerpi et on est à 2 hectares.
Si on fait travailler ces forêts, c'est pour quelle forêt? Non seulement ça permet de fertiliser les sols, mais ça permet également de les autonomiser économiquement à travers la vente de fruits.
Tous les arbres fruitiers que vous voyez, c'est chaque citronnier, on y récoltait plus de 60 kilos.
Merci beaucoup. Que ce sont des dames très dynamiques, des dames très braves, qui subissent de plein fouet les effets des changements climatiques. Nous, on vient en rescousse pour informer, pour sensibiliser sur des solutions, la promotion de bonnes pratiques. Les cas pires, c'est également ça. On le vit ici au quotidien et un peu partout au Sénégal. Ça participe également à la dégradation des sols. Justement, c'est la raison pour laquelle nous, on essaye de trouver comme solution prioritaire aujourd'hui le reboisement massif dans les périmètres maraîchers avec des espèces qui sont répulseurs aussi.
Nos projets d'avenir, si les femmes l'acceptent, on veut faire un projet de pépinière dans les alvéoles pour alléger les travaux.
La femme est à l'image de la terre. Ce sont des vrais économistes qui sont là, qui sont engagés pour la protection et la préservation de l'environnement.
La forêt,
On the news, Tribunal declines to nullify Governor Okpebolo's election. President Bola Ahmed tax Malek Kyari as NNPCL CEO. And Nigerian army subdues terrorists in Kebbi and Zamfara states. Many thanks for joining us on the news on TV360 Nigeria. I'm Tamilore Akinkwole. We begin in Edo State, where the Governorship Election Petition Tribunal in Abuja has dismissed petitions seeking to annul the Governor Monday Okpebolo presidency. In a unanimous ruling on Wednesday, the three-member panel led by Justice Pochi also declined to order a fresh governorship election in the state, stating that the petitioners, the Accord Party AP, and its gubernatorial candidate failed to provide sufficient evidence to support their claims. The tribunal struck out the petition for lack of merit, noting that the petitioners alleged widespread corrupt practices and non-compliance with the Electoral Act in September 21, 2024 election, but failed to substantiate their claims with credible evidence. The tribunal also dismissed the petition of Action Alliance and Adekunle Omoaje for lacking in merit and frivolous. The tribunal is currently giving its judgment on the petition filed by the PDP and its candidate in the election, Asue Ighodalo. And meanwhile, the Edo State Chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Jared Tenebe, has accused the leadership of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, of orchestrating a deliberate plan of the Edo Election Petition Tribunal Conference. Tenebe alleged me alongside behind a plot to incite violence and create unrest to force President Bola Ahmed Tinubu into declaring a state of emergency in Edo State. He claimed that disbanded members of the Edo State Security Network have been mobilized to stage attacks, such as the recent violence in Uromi, Esso Northeast local government area, in an attempt to implicate the state government and sway public and judicial sentiment. Tenebe called on security agencies to arrest the chairman of PDP and other PDPs involved in the alleged plot, urging the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to initiate extradition proceedings for party residing abroad to face terrorism charges.
We have a PDP that have decamped to. We have most of the informations that they never will expect us to have. In that meeting, they concluded that they will cause mayhem in the state. And by so doing, they will either declare state of emergency if they are not winning in the court, or use that to play up sentiments among the two of the judges who are northerners in the state. So when you see a thing like this, when a witch cries in the night and a child dies in the morning, you don't need a rocket scientist to tell you that the witch is killed that child. So this happened, these meetings happened, and almost immediately we saw that mayhem in Uromi. And it is clear that it was an act orchestrated and carried out by the PDP. It's obvious because immediately after that, you even saw about Obaze when he started making insinuations in his interviews. He's on Facebook, he's in all social media, where he clearly said that the people of Uromi had to come out to attack the kidnappers, maim the kidnappers because Mondio Pewolo failed to provide security. So you don't need another pointer to the fact that these people are involved in this crime. So they are all involved and they have to be arrested. And don't also forget that in the past, I also said it clearly that these people are planning to cause mayhem in the state, destabilize Edo State, so that they will feel that Mondio Pewolo is not good in security. But he has proven them wrong now because of his proactive means he used in tackling this issue.
And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reconstituted the board of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited, replacing Chairman Chief Pius Akinyelure, Group Chief Executive Officer GCEO Mele Kyari, and all other board members appointed in November 2023. In a statement by Special Advisor on Strategy Bayo Ononuga, Tinubu announced the appointment of an 11-man board with Ahmed Kida as the new non-executive chairman and Bashir Ojulari as the GCEO. President Tinubu invoked his authority under the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, emphasizing the restructuring aims to enhance operational efficiency, attract investment, and boost local content. The new board has been tasked with conducting a strategic review of NNPC's portfolios to align with value maximization goals. The administration targets increasing oil production to 2 million barrels daily by 2027 and 3 million by 2030, while scaling up gas production and refinery capacity. Now, joining me to discuss this further is economist Akin Ogushola, who joins me from Abuja. Thank you so much for your time. Now, quickly, what is your assessment of Kyari's tenure as the GCEO of NNPCL?
Yeah, thank you for having me this evening. To assess Kyari's tenure, I would say he has tried. He has, worked in good faith for Nigeria, in the sense that he performed at least a little well in the downstream sector. We see Port Harcourt refinery that has not worked for over 30 years come upstream, begin to work, begin to produce fuel and other petroleum products. Is a credit to him, despite all the turnaround maintenance that was done, but at least it came up. Also during his tenure, we saw Warri Refinery also coming up, to begin to produce. And it was just in the middle of working on the Kaduna Refinery to also begin to work before this sack actually came. Yes, the work is continuous. We cannot continue to rely on person. But the experience of those that have been is also one that we need to also in the oil and gas industry. We'll see changes also as well.
Policies should complement NNPC's reign to ensure that there is a balanced approach to oil and gas sector growth.
Yeah, one of the key policies that we have been clamoring for in the oil and gas industry is the decentralization of the downstream sector. This continuous government holding on to the price of petrol is one policy that we need to actually revamp in the downstream sector, so that private investors can come in. Yes, we've seen other refineries also coming up, apart from the Dangote refinery, but we want full deregulation of the downstream sector. That will make all the players in that sector to have a level playing field for them to, come into the market and compete, so that the consumers, which are Nigerians, will have, good competition and also cheap value, also in terms of quality. So full deregulation and also full implementation and full introduction of local content, especially in the gas sector, because we've seen that cooking gas is still one of the problems we have. Sometimes we have shortage of cooking gas, sometimes it's available, the price is actually high. So we still need new policies in the sector.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Moving on, a coalition of civil rights organizations under the aegis of the Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness has called for an immediate investigation in allegations made by former head of service of Rivers State, George Nweke, against suspended Governor Siminala. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja, the coalition's convener Gabriel Onwambo stressed that if proven, these allegations point to a severe governance crisis that threatens democratic relevant authority to restore public confidence in government institutions in Rivers State and across Nigeria.
Allegations cannot just be thrown under the carpet. It must prove. Dr. George has alleged arson, he has alleged corruption, he has alleged, threats to life and property in Rivers State. What we are saying is that Dr. George Nweke has also said that he has evidences to prove that he's not just saying that. He has evidences to buttress every fact that he has pronounced in course of his dual press briefings. So as rights organizations, we are saying that the Nigerian police, the Department of the State Security Services, the EFCC, by this medium, should switch into action and invite the requisite persons, Edison Ehie, the governor, and some people, the suspended governor. He should invite them immediately and make the necessary inquiry and find people that are culpable. If there are persons that have done things that are infractions to the government, such people should be brought to book.
And to security matters, the commander of one brigade in the Nigerian Army in Gusau, Brigadier General Timothy Oporom, has stated the troops under Operation Fasanyama have significantly reduced terrorist activities in Kebbi and Zamfara states. Officers, soldiers and their families, General Oporom challenges previously existed, sustained military operations and the dedication of troops have enabled the army to dominate the region and curtail terrorist threats. He highlighted the ongoing success of Operation Forest Sanity 3, attributing the progress to relentless effort of soldiers and officers. In addition of their dedication, the Chief of Staff has approved additional logistics support to further enhance effectiveness. The Clean Foundation has called for an increased budgetary allocation to enhance effective oversight, monitoring and implementation of the administration of criminal justice law regime in Nigeria. The appeal was made during a media presentation with key stakeholders in Lagos, where discussion centered on the challenges and progress in the implementation of the Act. Now, TV360's correspondent, Comfort Samuel, has more details in this next report.
The reform of the administration of criminal justice law introduced measures aimed at eliminating delays in trials, preventing and ensuring that accused persons with the rule of law. Significance, the nation has faced delays which have resulted in continued procedural inefficiencies, prolonged pre-trial, detentions and violation of the rights of accused persons. To overcome these challenges, continuous training, strict enforcement, effective monitoring and adequate funding are essential for full compliance and the successful reform of Nigeria's criminal justice system.
In some states, we noticed very clearly that the setting up of the Administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee that should actually monitor compliance of all the criminal justice actors within the value chain are missing. Some states don't even have them set up. For states where you have them set up, they have not been inaugurated. For some states where you have them inaugurated, some of them don't even know where their offices are. And some of them don't even know what their roles should look like. And we think this is a very big issue that we should put some element of spotlight around in terms of the adequacy of funding for purposes of promoting judicial activism. And because the judicial activism is one of the elements that will have and allow for a very vast society to function in a robust manner, political elites, and particularly those from the executive, are not offering that sort of support and independence.
Speaking on the issue of plea bargaining, critics argue that it is an unfair provision of the law, often expected by politically exposed persons to evade full accountability for their crimes.
Plea bargaining in jail has now become a weapon for negotiation. And then, of course, it actually therefore creates and put a price tag on justice. And that is one of the key interrogations that the media should begin to ask. What and how has plea bargaining in itself actually added value to our own criminal justice system? And we notice very clearly that the politically exposed persons exploit this particular provision in the law for them to procure justice.
A situation where somebody owes has stolen 50 billion, and then you say you are doing plea bargain, let him pay a certain amount and so on, and then after that he has settled the matter. I think it's very unfair. And I think that what I noted here for action for the media is to continue to publicize and continue to write on the unfairness of that section of the law until it is amended.
In the crucial role of institution and driving social change, other speakers urged that the media to enhance public awareness and understanding of the administration of criminal justice law and the broader justice system.
We continue to do this so that the awareness and to know about the intricacies and the tenets of this law is more or less increased within the citizens, which includes the security agencies, so that when people get there, they are able to engage.
The organizers further urged the National Assembly to allocate sufficient funding to ensure the effective implementation of the administration of criminal justice law and achieve the desired reforms for Nigeria's justice system. Comfort Samuel, TV360 News, Lagos.
The FCT Police Command, led by Commissioner of Police Ajao Adewale, has launched a 3-day community outreach to mark National Police Day 2025. Run from April the 3rd to April Crime, the initiative highlights the joint role of law enforcement and the public in addressing societal issues such as cultism, drug abuse, sexual-based violence, cybercrime, and kidnapping. The first day featured reinforcing the importance of settlement. Commissioner affirmed the command's dedication to policing duties.
Of environmental sanitation. You discover that when there's any pronouncement for clean-up exercise, police is always there on the road to ensure that people maintain what they're supposed to do, that people are not just crisscrossing the road or playing football. We are there to superintend over what they are doing. And of course, what we come to do today here is to them as cleanliness is next to godliness. Clean and tidy environment, crime cannot thrive in such a place. And this is what we have come to register. We have our area commander superintending, coordinating this aim exercise in various area command, up to Abaji, up to Gwagwalada. But this is the command headquarters, and this is the Gariki community that hosts us, and this is why we are here.
It's time for a short break, but still to come on news now. Nigeria $1 billion, highest in over 3 years. Details of the story will be given to you right after this break. Welcome back. Now here's a quick recap of some of our top stories. The State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja has declined to notify the election of Governor Monday Okwebolo of the All Progressive Congress APC. In a unanimous decision, a 3-member panel of the tribunal led by Justice Wilfus ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to conduct a fresh governorship poll in Edo State. We also told you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reconstituted the board of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited, replacing Chairman Chief Pius Akinyelure and Group Chief Executive Officer Mile Kyari and all other board members appointed in November 2023. The new board has been tasked with conducting a strategic review of NNPC's portfolio and with value maximization goals. Now, in case you missed any of the news bulletin or for more updates on AVO TV, log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Apple Store. On Facebook, we are TV360 on. It's time for business news, and Joy Uche is on standby in the world of business. Over to you, Joy.
Thank you, Tamilore, and welcome to Business News. Now, Nigeria's net foreign exchange reserve as of the end of 2024 stood at $23.11 billion, the highest level in over 3 years, reflecting a substantial improvement in the country's external liquidity, reduced short-term obligations, and renewed investor confidence. According to a statement by the Central Bank of Nigeria, the increase marked an increase from $3.99 billion at year-end of 2023, $8.19 billion in 2022, and $14.59 billion in 2021. Reacting to this development, economist Mukhtar Mohammed emphasized the need to boost diaspora interest to sustain economic growth. He also highlighted the importance of the CBN addressing the retail sector's foreign exchange shortage for a greater economic resilience.
I think it has to do with the current, will I say, policy in terms of looking at FX as a means of driving in imports into the Nigerian economy.
I think that most of the people that have FX are genuine people that need to import goods into the country. They've reduced sharp practices in the FX space. For me, that is one of the major policy drive that have resulted in this sharp increment in the short term. For me, I think that is one of the best policy they do, trying to make sure that all the sharp practices, especially from civil servants, especially in the FX market, is the two-way exchange system, inflow and outflow. We have seen that for the first time we are having inflow, and we are not having people complaining that they could not repatriate their money back to their country. I think for me that was one that have really been able to boost confidence in people. That policy of a two-way exchange system, that for me is what has really brought more confidence to the economy. And if you look at the data from the Nigerian Stock Exchange, you see that a lot of outflow from foreign investors out of this country, and none of them is complaining money has been trapped. One area that they had brought those confidence in this market. Now, will we be able to? Because again, that is largely going to be driven by availability in terms of output of crude oil sale. How much of this crude oil sales are we able to sell in the international market to earn more effects into our foreign reserve? And you know the challenges that we are having in the Niger Delta in sense of even meeting a budget target of 2.06 million barrels per day.
We'll now go on a short break and return with stock market reports. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Nigeria's stock market decreased by 0.11% or 72 billion naira on Wednesday, April 2nd, the first trading day after 2 days of public holidays marking the Eid-el-Fitr celebration. Now, UAC of Nigeria led the losers category with an end-of-day share price reduction of 10% at 31 naira 95 kobo per share, followed by University Press. Now, at the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, a total of 438 million shares, 17,282. Now, when this is compared, which was Friday, March 29% decline in volume, a 38% decline in turnover, and a 31% in the number of deals. And swerving to the global front, it's a bit of a mixed outcome as the US Dow Jones and Japan's Nikkei enjoyed a bullish close on Wednesday. The UK's FTSE, on the other hand, was dealt the red card, reducing by 0.30%. Now, moving on, the foreign exchange market had a good run, with the Naira enjoying slight gains against major currencies. The US dollar trades at 1,555 Naira to a dollar on the black market. The pound and euro traded at 2,005 Naira and 1,060 Naira respectively. That's no business and stock market updates. Back to you, Tammy Laura, for the rest of the news.
Thank you for that update, Joy. Now, on the global scene, Niger's junta announced that it had released around 50 individuals, including ministers from the government it overthrew in July 2023, following recommendations from a national conference held in February. Those freed include former ministers, a diplomat, a journalist, and soldiers accused of attempting a coup in 2010. However, ousted former President Mohamed Bazoum remains in detention despite widespread international calls for his release. The individuals were arrested after the coup that brought General Abdurrahman Tiani, the former head of the Presidential Guard, to power. They had been held in various prisons primarily on charges of conspiracy to undermine the security and authority of the state. And a South African court acquitted Nigerian televangelist Timi Omotosho on Wednesday, clearing him of 32 charges 8 years after he was arrested on accusation of raping and from his church. The court stated that the prosecution had mishandled its case against Omotosho, the senior pastor of Jesus Dominion International Church in South Africa. Omoto was arrested in 2017, was visibly emotional after the judge ruling, falling to his knees and appearing to pray upon being found not guilty of all charges, including sexual exploitation and human trafficking. And finally, on sport, Spanish prosecutors have announced their intention to appeal a court ruling that overturned the rape conviction of former Brazil international footballer Dani Alves, a decision that has been criticized by both the government and women's rights group. Alves, a three-time Champions League winner with Barcelona, was convicted last year of raping a young woman in the VIP bedroom of a nightclub in Barcelona in 2022. It was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison. However, on Friday, a Barcelona appeal court overturned the lower court's ruling, citing inconsistencies and contradictions in the trial, as well as insufficient evidence to conclusively prove his guilt. And Real Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti is denied in court on the opening day of his trial that he intentionally committed tax fraud. He faces allegations of failing to declare income to Spain's tax office in what is the latest case involving sport figures in the country. Prosecutors are seeking a prison sentence of 4 years and 9 months for the 65-year-old Italian coach, accused of evading over $1 million, failing to report earnings from 2015 during his first tenure at Real Madrid. Prosecutors argue that Ancelotti only declared his salary from the club, omitting income from his emails and his tax returns. And that wraps up our bulletin on Tamilore Akinkwole. See you again next time. Welcome to another episode on Startups. I'm Tamilore Akinkwole. Now, every year, companies and institutions around the world grapple with the growing menace of forged certificates and falsified credentials. But one Nigerian startup is changing the game with an innovative solution, the Akọ̀wé app. Now, today we'll dive into the story of a revolutionary app that is tackling the global challenge of document falsification. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Akọ̀wé.
Akọ̀wé, an online platform designed to reduce the incidence of credential in the job market. We've built out technology that allows employers to be able to instantly verify the authenticity of academic records, as well as technology that allows educators to be able to issue digital certificates easily. My name is Ayodiji Agbola Akowe.
Initially, Akowe was funded with a simple mission: to approve and manage certificates for individuals. However, as demand for reliable verification grew, the app evolved into a cutting-edge platform used to confirm the authenticity of credentials and certificates.
The story starts from when we were trying to solve our own problem. We did have a contract in 2018 with Facebook where we were training lots of small business owners on how to use Facebook products for business. And after the training, we need to give certificates. We trained a total of about 70,000 people across 4 years. And you can imagine trying to give certificates to this large number of people. So I decided to build a simple solution that could easily issue these certificates out to these recipients. So we're looking for an English name for this application because I realized that we weren't the only ones who had the problem. There were other Facebook fans who had the same problem. And there were other educators out there who were running trainings and who wanted to issue certificates, and there was a need for a simple tool like what we had built. I was looking for an English name that would work. I just couldn't find any, especially as we wanted to buy a domain name that was appropriate. And we tried so many different English names, and after a lot of frustration not finding an appropriate name, I started to think, okay, maybe we should go indigenous. And the name Akowe popped into my head, and simply because of what it describes the application does. And the application would simply write your name on the certificate and then issue it out to you. So it was an application that writes, right? So that was why I named it Akowe. But it's turned out to be a great name because it's now even doing many other things around academic space, around graduates and the likes. And you know, typically a literate is what you call an Akowe or a clerk, you know, in the Yoruba language. So that's the story behind that. So shortly after we launched the initial product, which was issuing of certificates, quite a number of our customers started asking, okay, thank you for this, but can you help us verify certificates? And that was obviously not why we built the application in the first place. Then we started looking into that problem, and then we realized that that was even a bigger problem because quite a number of either postgraduate schools or employers had a challenge trying to verify whether this person they're trying to hire, you know, actually has the grade that they say that they do. You know, because there's no system in place that is quick and fast that can help people, you know, actually get that information. Because what happens is, if you need to verify credentials, you either send someone to the school or you call the school, and that takes a bit of time before you get that answer.
Akowe has quickly gained recognition as a one-in-a-million solution to the global issue of document fraud by allowing companies and universities to verify the app, maintaining integrity in recruitment, academics, and more.
They just, you know, give themselves a little notch upwards to the next grade. So if you had a second class lower, you would say you have a second class upper. You know, most people don't go and say they have a first class. They just, you know, go to the next upper grade so that there is a higher chance that an employer could say, okay, you have a good grade, we can hire you. So that's what you find that is very rampant. Many times as well, because somebody who didn't graduate would have a CV that says they graduated from so-so school. You know, it's so hard to check. So you, even if you're book smart or whatever it is, you might get hired even if you didn't graduate from school. And then your performance might then start to show that, okay, you said you had this grade, how come your performance is this way? And that's how people have been discovered over the years to see, okay, your performance doesn't meet what you say you have in your CV. So you have many of those types of different methods that people do often. So with what we have done, which we have aggregated a lot of academic records onto our platform, it means that you can check and you can get information instantly. So for providing that instant information to you, you pay. So to access the system, we allow you some free trials where you can sign up, create an account, go into the platform and check a few names And after that free trial, then you have to pay to continue to access the information. So basically, you will pay to search, and then you pay to download a generated report. That generated report is what you can keep in your files as HR department.
While these features have brought much needed efficiency in ensure verification, some skeptics have raised concerns about the safety of sensitive data on the server. Ayodeji, the visionary founder, users that the app servers readily to prevent hacking and data breaches.
Your academic records are the permanent record. Once your academic record has been issued by your school, it's a permanent record. It's not supposed to change, right? People change it because of, nefarious reasons. So what we're building out a solution where people can list their academic records on our platform. And because it's supposed to be a permanent record, we use blockchain technology to secure that permanence. It's tamper-proof and all of that. But however, who is to say that what you are listing on the platform is actually authentic? That's why we have multiple ways for actually verifying what you are listing. Once we verify that what you are listing is the same thing that the university has issued, and there are multiple other ways that we can actually verify that information, we then make it tamper-proof on the blockchain. So in essence, what it means is that a person can have their academic dossier on the Akọ̀wé app and their entire education history going backwards or even going forwards, right? So with that, anybody should be able to check this person, which school did they go to for primary school, which school did they go for secondary school, what did they come out for the university with, and things like that. That entire academic history is important information. Right now, it's scattered everywhere, and that's why Akọ̀wé is a very collaborative company. We're speaking with people who already work with secondary schools using software to say, hey, there's a lot of education here that you guys have access to. There are people willing to pay to see the education history. Let's collaborate and let's put it out to solve some of those problems.
The app's import doesn't end there. Recognizing a broader need, Akọ̀wé has expanded its services to include undergraduates, enabling their credentials to be confirmed when they apply for loans. This feature is of young people access opportunities while also ensuring transparency and accountability.
Right now, we're developing 2 new other products that we found that the market is asking for, right? Again, people have come to us. We need to verify undergraduates. And something as simple as that, nobody in Nigeria today can do that. If you are an undergraduate, you are in 100 level, you're in 100 level, you're a 200 level student, maybe a bank wants to give you 50% off to be able to buy this laptop. They cannot verify that you are a 200 level undergraduate from this school. It's just, there's no way to do that because there's no system in place that anybody can trust that says that you are actually a graduate from this school. Because are you going to bring your ID card? Anybody can make an ID card, right? So we're building a collaborative solution. Let's be able that this person is an undergraduate, is from this school, but now in 200 level, right? In private partnerships, universities themselves, and then customers from outside can pay to access that.
When asked about government collaboration, Akọ̀wé's leadership remains tight-lipped. However, the app has secured partnership with prominent organizations in Nigeria, a testament to credibility and trustworthiness.
You really can't execute business without the government. You must register your business as a legal entity, so the government must be aware that you're doing something and what you're doing is legal, right? So, but the challenge has been that Nigeria is very peculiar, in the sense that, great ideas often find their ways to the top and often just find a way to be replicated even when you have lost quite a number of times. So we figure that the goal or the objective, or if you're going to win in this market, that's probably not the way to go. We're also aware that the government is also trying to build out similar solutions. And, again, if everybody is trying to solve the same problem, I believe that collaborative efforts get us there faster. Akọ̀wé is very difficult because it's not just B2B, it's B to universities. And if you understand universities, and not just Nigerian universities, universities across the world are not known to drive innovation. They're very slow to move. very, very academic, and therefore they're not very easily swayed to move into new technologies, especially African universities. So it's really, really difficult. And what we've been able to do is to show to them that there's a whole lot of revenue, there's a whole lot of innovation that if we work together, we can unlock a lot of revenue for they themselves, the universities, a lot of ease for their stakeholders, graduates, lecturers. I mean, for instance, it takes forever to get a transcript, even today. The technology is there, we just need to be able to work together. So the biggest challenge has always been that being able to work with universities in a way that technology would be the solution end to end.
One of the company's milestone came on the global stage. Akaway's effort to bridge the gap in document verification earned them recognition at a prestigious event in the States, where they were celebrated for their innovative approach to a global problem.
I would say when we were invited to pitch at TechCrunch Startup Battlefield in the USA, it was 2023. You know, we had applied for the program in around April, and I promptly forgot about it. You know, and in August, I got an email to say, "Hooray, you're welcome. We're inviting you to the US to come and pitch your startup on a global stage." That was a great milestone for Akaway to have been chosen out of 3,000 global applications, and they chose only 200. That was a great more booster. That okay, we're solving something global here, and TechCrunch. And if you know TechCrunch is a global brand, right? You know, so that was validation for us. And that also helped us to realize that it was not a Nigerian problem, because standing on the stage in San Francisco talking to a global audience about the problem you're solving from Nigeria, you have to find a way to make them relate to it. And there was a great aha moment where people realized that I'm from India, I have the same problem. I'm from Pakistan, I have the same problem. To actually see that, okay.
On the African front, Akaway has established a partnership with a company in Kenya, marking the beginning of its expansion across the continent. This collaboration underscores the app's mission to make the world a better place, one credential at a time.
Absolutely. So we have a partnership right now where that partner already sells credential verification in Kenya. And once that partnership has been finalized, it means that Akaway will be able to provide credential verification for Kenyans. So if you are a Nigerian trying to hire a Kenyan, you'll be able to come on our platform and verify that Kenyan based off of that partnership that we have. And it's a two-way thing. So that partner also will be able to access all of the records that we have in West Africa. Like that help us scale very quick. And this is not just a problem we're trying to solve for Nigeria alone. So think about West Africa, East Africa. The problem exists across Sub-Saharan Africa, basically, and many parts of the world as well that are not on the African continent. So we want to make sure we focus on the first iteration. If it's good enough, like it, and people, it then begins easily scale. Okay. Earlier we talked about the Benin Republic and the issues that are happening there. We are in conversations with companies in Benin Republic where we're trying to say, this is our solution. We want to bring it into the country and actually help solve that problem. You know, so already we see that the problems exist, and with digital technologies, you know, you can scale and solve those problems at scale. But you have to get it right. And once you get it right, it's easily replicable, you know, across countries.
Looking to the future, Akaway has bigger plans. The team is opportunities to focusing on reducing the alarming. This move will revolutionize the education system and provide a foundation for a more transparent academic process. Welcome back. Now, global financial challenges for businesses might be compliance threshold to perceived risks and sudden service disruptions. Now, businesses frequently face obstacles that hinder their ability to scale and grow. Today, we turn our focus to a company revolutionizing cross-border payments and financial accessibility. Let's dive into the story of Waza and its groundbreaking platform, Link.
Waza is the B2B payments platform for emerging market businesses. We're helping businesses to make global payments, or I would say, to source FX liquidity to pay their suppliers and vendors globally. We've recently launched a product called Link, which is infusing this FX liquidity product that we offer customers in a banking experience, right? And so our customers now have better control over their money, and they can make payments globally from a dashboard. They can access FX liquidity, get great rate, access different payment methods. I'm Maxwell Obi. I'm the CEO of Waza.
Registered in the United States as a money service business, Waza specializes in foreign exchange and money transmission. Since the launch and start in January 2023, the company has partnered with financial powerhouses like Visa and Currency Cloud to deliver payment services and account issuance. In just 1 year, Waza has served hundreds of businesses, processing an impressive $700 million in annualized payment volume while facilitating payments across 6 continents.
Waza is the B2B payments platform for emerging market businesses. We're helping businesses to make global payments, or I would say, to source FX liquidity to pay their suppliers and globally. They're called Link, which is liquidity product experience, right? Customers now have better control over their money from a dashboard. They great access different methods.
But Waza is not stopping there. To address the unique challenges faced by businesses in emerging market, one product called Link, native to existing financial solutions, Link is multi-currency. These accounts enable payments to more than 100 countries and are equipped with robust features that extend beyond traditional wallets.
There's a big void that it's feeling in the market because traditional banks haven't been able to cater to the needs of those businesses over time. They have an outsized perception of risks for businesses that operate in higher risk jurisdictions like emerging markets in Africa, Southeast Asia, etc. And so we decided to plug that gap by launching Link, which is, it's not a different brand, but it's a different product under the same brand, right? And so it's still solving B2B payments from the perspective of FX and now banks. This is small business, startups, other financial institutions, corporates, even large organizations can use Link. I would say if you have a need to operate in the global market, or you have a need for international banking, and you will be perceived as high risk, and we are the alternative, we are the go-to for you. So that's our target, right? And that's from a customer segmentation standpoint. If you take a wider scan from a market perspective, we want to look at markets that have a lot of cross-border activity and a lot of buzzing startup ecosystem, right, or startup activity. Even as we target corporates and large multinationals, right, or even if large corporates and enterprises are part of the customer segment, they are not our sole target. We know that startups are also super affected. So we want them to also bank on Link. We want them to come get their multi-currency accounts, do exchange, and just use us as a de facto banking platform to make payments to their vendors and suppliers globally.
What sets Link apart is its comprehensive payment support. This ensures businesses with operations across the globe which can efficiently manage their payments and focus exchange liquidity on a single platform.
Most people that have tried to provide multi-currency platforms approach it from a mature market mindset. We're taking a very localized approach, paying attention to emerging market businesses that cannot access international banking services. If you take a quick look at what happened last year, banks like Mercury, fintech banks, or other financial institutions like Mercury, SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, began to shut down businesses that have either directors or UBOs in emerging markets that deem high risks, right? So it's not, we on the other hand have provided this service with a keen eye for streamlining compliance processes, speed, and cost, right? If you can bank with these guys, you can bank with us. And not only have we signed that compliance process for you, we can now give you can deliver your payments very fast within the same day. FX, yes, is a great value prop there, but it is not the entire thing. Transaction fees, we don't charge a monthly transaction fee, it's really cheap. Eventually, as we launch more features and evolve the product, there will be more customer segments unlocked, right? We're thinking about building APIs that will cater to other financial institutions that want to build on top of our infrastructure. And when we think about B2B payments, which is our core focus, it's usually happening in the context of trade. And trade can be seen as an ecosystem. There's a supply side, there's a demand side. So there are other things that will also cater to supply customer segment. But today, businesses, importers, exporters, corporates, startups would be our ideal customer target.
Importantly, Waza clarifies that it is not a bank. Instead, the company partners with banks that are adhere to strict rules and regulations in each country of operation. This strategic approach ensures compliance while maintaining flexibility and innovation.
First, Waza or Link is not a bank. We're a technology company, and so all of the services are provided in partnership with licensed financial institutions. So we've been able to build on top I would say really strict compliance protocols and whatever other value services that they can offer. Today, we're making great progress we want to launch interest on deposits, financing. These are all value-added services that makes us stand out, right? So it's not just, yes, we're going to give you faster payments, cheaper payments, a streamlined compliance approach so you can actually bank with us if you can get access to the US banking infrastructure. But also, eventually, we're going to launch other features to cater to all your needs for you to actually operate competitively in the global financial market.
Speaking about the operation in Nigeria, Maxwell Obi, the Waza CEO and co-founder, emphasized the adaptive approach to navigating local policies, highlighting Waza's commitment to support the market.
First and foremost, we pay really attention to security, trust, compliance. We don't joke with these things. It's top priority for us. Also re-emphasize that we are not a bank. We are a technology company that is building on top the services and licensing of banking partners that have strict adherence, CTF and other regulations. But beyond that, if you take a look at the banking side of things, these guys are already complying with all of these regulations, right? They're complying with the central bank regulations, the BSA Act in the US, and other regulatory bodies. So from a banking standpoint, there is that compliance aspect and trust and security. From a technology standpoint, we've also tried to pay attention to global standards in terms of building the product. So we've implemented bank-grade encryption, security protocols, and we also pay strict attention to KYC and KYB regulations. And we also licensed, right? We're registered as an MSB with the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network of the US. We're also licensed by the central bank as an IMTO. So while that regulation or directive is in place, yeah, we pay attention to it and we try to operate together with our banking partners within the frameworks of the regulators.
Despite being incorporated and operational in the US, UK and EU, they identified a significant challenge for businesses with ties to emerging market. These barriers often link to service discontinuation, uncompleted transactions and disrupted trade flows, resulting in substantial financial losses and hampering business growth. Link was developed to address this critical capabilities and competitive FX rate ensures businesses can manage their finances efficiently while also scaling globally. And that's how we have on today's episode on Startups. I'm Tamilore Akinkolie. See you again next time.
a pleasure to have you join us on 360 Health. I am Okechukwu Ukekwe. The National Health Insurance Authority and the National Agency for the Control of AIDS have initiated a strategic partnership aimed at expanding insurance coverage for people living with HIV and other vulnerable populations. The Director General of HIA, Kelechi Ohi, via his X handle, emphasizing its role in ensuring financial protection and access to comprehensive healthcare services for PLHIV. Similarly, the NACA in a statement confirmed that its management team, led by Director General Temitope Ilori, visited NHIA to discuss sustainable healthcare solutions for PLHIV. Key highlights of the discussion include the expansion of health insurance coverage to over 19 million Nigerians, increased support for vulnerable groups, including PLHIV integration of HIV and tuberculosis treatment into NHIA benefits, and domestic resources mobilization for long-term impact. And the Acting Regional Director for Africa of the World Health Organization, Chukwe Ihegwozu, said despite advances made in oral health care, the African region lags behind key oral health indicators. He said that only 19% of the regional population has access to essential oral health care services. According to him, oral diseases such as dental caries, gum disease, and tooth loss affected 42% of the WHO African region population in 2021. To tackle these challenges, he highlighted that member states endorsed the Regional Oral Health Strategy 2016 to 2025, integrating oral diseases into non-communicable disease prevention and control programs. And the federal government has approved the disbursement of 32.8 billion from the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund to support primary healthcare programs in the first quarter of 2020. The funds will be distributed through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and the National Emergency Medical Service and Ambulance System. The federal government also said it will approve a new set of governance guidelines for the PHCPF at the 10th PHCPF Ministerial Oversight Committee meeting, while reaffirming the government's commitment to strengthening the country's healthcare system. The coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Ali Pate, revealed that 32.8 billion naira has been allocated to strengthen over 8,000 primary healthcare centers nationwide. We'll take a break now and the program will return shortly. UNICEF has over 80,000 malnourished children. UNICEF has over 80,000 malnourished children, higher chances to diseases. This condition not only compromises the health of the children, but also have long-term effects on their ability to contribute to society to adulthood. In Nigeria, they're pushing many families into making it even more difficult to provide children with the necessary for healthy development. The economic hardship caused by inflation and food shortage exacerbated this issue, putting children at even greater risk. While joining me to discuss further is Safe Throw Medicals and a public health enthusiast, Dr. Glory Olakba. Thank you for joining us on the program. So given that UNICEF has raised an alarm about 80,000 malnourished children in Nigeria who are at risk of losing vital food aid due to funding shortage, and considering the country's ongoing food insecurity, which skyrocketed food prices caused by inflation and economic hardship, what are the potential consequences of this crisis on the health and development of children in Nigeria?
Okay, so thank you very much for the question. This crisis has posed significant threats to the health of Nigerians, particularly under 5 children, making them at risk of malnutrition. And so for the purpose of this discussion, malnutrition usually is a broad term for undernutrition and overnutrition. Undernutrition meaning that the child does not get adequate nutrients for the body to develop well, so the child is malnourished. So for the purpose of this discussion, I'll be focusing my topic or my discussion on undernutrition. So the crisis, the funding that has been, or that's no longer there, the rising food prices has made it so difficult for many families, especially the poor and vulnerable, to access food, quality food, proteinous food, carbohydrates, vitamins, food rich in micronutrients. This will help children to develop properly. And so with this unavailability of funds and unavailability of this food, these children are malnourished, and so they come down with severe acute malnutrition, as we see in cases like kwashiorkor, marasmus, and all that. So it is a significant problem. And studies have shown that children under 5, over 500,000 deaths are caused by undernutrition. So you can imagine the threats and the consequences of this crisis on young children, particularly under 5.
So how does the current economic hardship and inflation in Nigeria contribute to the rising rate of malnutrition?
Okay, yes. So the current economic hardship contributes adversely to the rising rates of malnutrition for children. Most families, they're unemployed or they're living under $1 per day. And so they have put them under the poverty line, towards, influencing undernutrition in Nigeria. We see undernutrition amongst, the middle class and so even some upper class citizens, but that usually may be due to, negligence on the part of the parents to monitor the child's growth. However, severe acute malnutrition has been significantly found among the poor and vulnerable to economic hardship that has on these ones, and so they are unable to afford foods that will be of benefit to these children. Also, some cultural practices, in some culture they tell you don't give a child egg, don't give them meat, don't give them this because they will be susceptible to stealing and all that. That's a very wrong, notion, because children need this nutrients, they need this particular class of food to be able to develop their bodies, the bodybuilding food like protein. So they need a lot of eggs, they need meat, they need milk and all that to help them grow properly. And these things are now very expensive and all that. So it is a very, serious effect. It has, the economic crisis has posed a very serious effect and serious burden on accessing this food.
What would you say are the long-term consequences of widespread child malnutrition for Nigeria's development?
So there's this saying which says, children are the leaders of tomorrow. So if most under 5 children are malnourished, there will be poor brain development, there's stunted growth, they are susceptible to infection. In fact, they can even die from malnourishment or from malnutrition. So it is important that the government look into this particular children who are vibrant, who also add to the economic strength of the nation, because when we build up children who right from time were well nourished, their brain capabilities are boosted enough for them to, perform well in school, and they do well. And in the long run, this will bring growth to the society and to the nation as large.
So how can the Nigerian government and international organization address the funding shortage that is threatening food aid program in Nigeria?
Okay, so this funding shortage could be addressed or can be addressed by particularly, targeting families to grow their own foods. If every family in Nigeria is empowered, fertilizers are made cheap, seedlings are made very accessible and subsidized, families should be encouraged to grow their own food. So they grow their own vegetables, have poultry farms that could produce eggs for their own family, meat and all that. Even dairy products, so that we can have access to milk, yogurts. All this will help children to develop properly, and also will make food accessible. So government should look at subsidizing food items, because once food is made available, there's massive access to food, will solve a good number of our health challenges. And so funding should be directed towards subsidizing food and food products, seedlings, fertilizers, creating lands, creating job opportunities for farmers, and then encouraging farmers to do more, tackling the problem of insecurity so that, more farmers can go back to their farms to produce more food. So these and many more are the ways that government can tackle this problem from the grassroots.
What step can be taken to ensure that children from low-income families have access to affordable, nutritious food?
Okay, aside from the other steps I have mentioned, I think more health awareness should be given to mothers and also parents of these children, and also to everyone in the society, for them to be able to, stop these harmful cultural practices against children, against also feeding, against feeding children properly. Some people will tell them, okay, don't give a child this, don't give a child that. Children need all the signs that they require to grow properly. They need the enabling environment and everything. So I'll say the steps should be taken from different perspective, starting from the family. The family is the smallest size in the society, the smallest unit in the society. So if each family in Nigeria is aware of this devastating disease called severe acute malnutrition, I'm sure that a lot will be done at the level of the family to encourage children to eat and eat well.
What measures should be taken to educate Nigerian families about proper nutrition and the importance of a balanced diet despite economic challenges?
Okay, so I think, are very important, but aside that, most families, should be brought together and encouraged to grow their own foods. It's very important that most people, see the need to grow their own foods. And then apart from that, the accessible grains that one could use to make their own, food, instead of going for processed foods, very expensive baby foods and all that. So there are some, locally sourced grains which one could use to produce their own food for babies that will be very nutritious for them. There is a pap called Quash Pap. There is something, called Tom Brown. So these are, things that we can make from our local millets, guinea corn, add crayfish, soya beans, and all that. So if families are aware of, some foods that they can get and then, put together in a very interesting way for children, for it to be appealing for children to eat, I think it will go a long way to encourage children to eat, and to go a long way to ease the burden on some families who depend solely on, some other staple foods.
What are the specific regions in Nigeria most affected by this malnutrition? Why are they disproportionately impacted?
So, like I said, majorly, currently, I think it's the major influence and the major cause of this is poverty. And so if you look at regions where poverty is really affecting the lives of families and all that, who are not able to access some of this food, and then also lack of awareness is also one of. If I'm looking at the region in Nigeria, most times we've seen from the northern region and sometimes from southwest and all that. So it is very important that everyone, in fact, almost all Nigerians, you will find malnutrition, in some regions and also in some places, in some states and all that. This is just due to inaccessibility to quality foods, and then poverty as well. But for the northern region, we've seen most cases mostly from the northern region.
How do you think Nigeria can improve its healthcare infrastructure to better address the nutritional needs of children in both rural and urban areas?
Okay, so the government have been trying, making sometimes there's this school feeding program. There's also the fact that most teaching hospitals are giving free nutritious food. There's this catch-up feeds, F75, F100, or they are at very affordable rates, they're subsidized and all that. So the government is trying in that aspect. Aside from that, they can do more. So subsidize fertilizers, empower farmers, empower families to be able to grow their own foods. I'll keep emphasizing on that. And then, put subsidies on our staple foods and also on protein. Protein, very important. And also on fruits and vegetables, subsidies on this, or encourage farmers to grow more to, cater for the growing population of the country. So the government can do more. Government can empower more health workers to carry out massive awareness campaign in communities for them to be able to, properly make their own meals that will be beneficial to the children, and then also for adults too. And then these health workers too should be empowered. More health workers should be employed because of the burnout syndrome that has been happening now in the health sector. So if more people are employed, more health workers are employed, they'll be able to, cater for patients and even for clients adequately and give them the education that they need to be able to, eat well and stay healthy.
How can Nigerian policymakers incorporate nutrition into national development strategies to address both immediate and long-term challenges?
Okay, so I think the best thing to do is to implement policies that will be of benefit to the child, from the Child Rights Acts, for people to be impoverished, and by they should encourage routine checks of a child's growth and development. So most families, I don't think they are aware there's something called a road to health chart or a child's growth chart. So if every family is mandated to draw a chart of their or follow up on the growth chart of their child, specifically under 5 children. So policies, to make parents aware of this thing and then let them follow up on the growth chart of their child to see when the child is becoming stunted, to see when the child is not developing well, to see when the child does not have adequate weight for their height or weight for age. So this is very important. Let government look into that. We have the national immunization schedule. We have a lot of schedules that are for children, the immunization schedules and all that. So if something can be incorporated into nutrition as well, ensure that parents are able to follow up the growth of their child, objectively see how their child is growing. So there's a chart that we use in the hospital. It's very easy to read as well. So parents can be educated on that chart. Let them know that there's something called the growth chart. Visit maybe routinely, 3 months, in fact, every month. Let me check the growth chart of this child of mine. But specifically children under 5, they should be encouraged to always go for a routine check to check their growth and development.
What partnership between governments and private sector and international organizations would be most effective in combating malnutrition crisis in Nigeria?
Yeah, because of the situation that we have at hand, so we need collaboration. So it's collaboration that can make this work. Collaboration between the government, multinationals, NGOs, and so on. And so this partnership, if they all come together to bring resources together, put resources together to fight malnutrition, I believe it will go a long way. And so maybe carry out more program, and specifically at the grassroots level, rural development and all that, specifically looking at families under the poverty line and all. I think if they come together to work together to fight the menace of malnutrition, I believe that collaboration will go a long way to help us.
And how can Nigeria utilize its local agricultural potentials to malnutrition, particularly in terms of improving access for stable, locally produced nutritious food?
So the way we access to our local on this food, so predominant in the northern region, accessible to those in the south, north, and all that, and then improve on this food. Government should subsidize the seedlings farm, and then also improve the security conditions of the country. This will encourage us to patronize our locally made food. But by the time we see it is cheaper and it is readily available, you don't have to stress, you don't have to, break a bank to be able to afford something as cheap as soya beans or something as accessible as eggs. If you have all those things and it's readily available, you will not think of going to go and process foods or going to go and buy, foreign products and all that. Quality, locally made food, very affordable rates. So it is important that subsidy is given to our foods.
Well-founded Safe Through Medicals and a public health enthusiast, Dr. Glory Alakba, thank you for lending your thoughts on the program. And that's all for today's episode, and we'll see you again next time.
Even though it is considered that we have a so-called disability, we really are able persons with different abilities.
For society and development to be included of persons with disabilities, we need to have equal access to education and to knowledge and information. Yet, out of millions of publications each year, fewer than 5% are made available in accessible formats for visually impaired persons. In developing countries, an even smaller percentage of publications are available in accessible formats. The Marrakesh Treaty, as it is called, will greatly expand the availability of artistic and literary works in accessible forms, such as Braille, large print text, and audiobooks. This can make a real difference in the lives of the world's more than 300 million visually impaired persons.
At the end of the day, we must come together and make however and where we are in the world be a place of unification, because me being blind visually doesn't mean that I have to be blind socially. And someone being sighted doesn't mean that they should be blind of those things in the world that we need to fix. We have to have inclusion. Let us not become handicapped again, blind to the issues and the problems of those in need.
Abdullahi Dalhatu began grape farming at Dufa Dufa village in Kudang local government area of Nigeria's northwest Kaduna state in 2003. Today, he's one of the very few Nigerian farmers growing grapes in commercial quantity in the country. And he's also the current national president of Grape Producers, Processors and Marketers Association of Nigeria.
What motivates me to go into grape farming is the potentiality associated with the grape farming activities. Because a grape farmer is raising handsome profit, is raising handsome income in grape farming. Because I doubt if there is another aspect of farming in agriculture which is highly lucrative than grape farming in Nigeria. I have started with the only one varieties of grapes called Black Hamburg. So on that time, it's only one varieties I am cultivating here. But now, I am growing 7 different varieties of grapes. I have started with only 15 grapes, but now I have more than 1,650 stands of grapes in this farm. Comprise the different varieties as I have said. Actually, I have started it from the small scale, but now it was a large scale.
Grape farming is rare in Nigeria. In fact, many had always thought it's almost near impossible to grow grapes in the country, since the overwhelming bulk of grapes consumed in Nigeria come from abroad.
When I saw the clip showing this project as a result of the visit of the chairman of the local government, I should be impressed, but I was also surprised and wonder whether also. And that is why after the whole thing has gone viral, a lot of people within the country and outside the country have called me to ask me whether this is actually true because they believe it. And I told them that I will not tell them it is true, although my chairman has come and seen it, but as you who is within the domain, I feel I should fight before I tell the whole world that this is actually true. It's not magic, it's not any photo magic, it is a reality. From what I've seen, I'm extremely happy, and I must do whatever is humanly possible to encourage the gentlemen and other people that have started this project through any means possible, intervention, government contact, any other thing that will bring more publicity to this project.
Data from the Observatory of Economic Complexity, OEC, estimates Nigeria's grapes import at over $8 million in 2023, while exporting a meager $36,000 worth of the fruit in the same year. But Dalhatu is working to change that narrative.
Since we discovered that most of the grapes being imported from abroad, so it's part of our vision to ensure that we promote the grape farming locally in Nigeria so that our country will be self-sufficient in grape production, marketing and export. So in the next future, I'm sure, in the next future time, I'm sure Nigeria the dependency of grape importation in Nigeria will reduce up to 55%, so that we can rely on our local production and reach also the level of export with Nigerian locally grape production.
Dalhatu says grape farming has been more than rewarding, and his customers now goes beyond the country.
Market is so friendly in Nigeria of the quality and the quantity of grapes we are producing. We are receiving different customers across the country coming direct to the farm and take and buy our product. Even international marketers are coming direct to this farm and access and buy our product due to its quality standard, the sugar content, the longer shelf life, and the quality of the product we are producing. We have the benefit of climate to get good habit per year, contrary to what is happening in the other countries. Based on the favorable climate we are blessed with, so we used to have a bumper harvest of 2 times in a year.
For now, Dalhatu grows only table grapes, which are widely consumed in Nigeria. But it says it's making plans to start growing wine grapes as well.
Grapes is a type of plant that has so many varieties. So Nigerian, we are only, as I told you, that we are only have the capacity to produce 7 different varieties of grapes. So we need more exotic and improved varieties. And most of the varieties are high-yielding varieties that will enable Nigeria to produce multiple numbers of tons in a harvest. So we need hybrid varieties of grape seedlings.
So far, Dalhatu has trained over 50 persons in grape farming here at his farm. Almost all his trainees have come to start their own grape farm. Farming comes with some familiar challenges.
One of the challenges is that inadequate water supply. Grape is a kind of plant that requires excessive application of water. So insufficient water supply is one of the factors that reducing the growth and development of grape value chain. And the second challenge is faced by our grape farmers, inadequate of hybrid seed variety. The problem we are facing is the storage infrastructure facilities, because there are situations whereby our grape farmers in Nigeria used to face the risk of losses due to the rain intervention. At the point of ripening, grape farmers face the risk of rainfall, and face the risk of rainfall, which will lead to damage of so many tons of grapes. So if there were to be more storage facilities like cold room, that will enable both the producer and the marketers to reduce the level of risk, because when it was cold storage, the grapes will have access for a longer time before it damage. Then another problem is all farmers need financial support. So I'm sure if government will provide financial support to grape farmers by having a conducive and favorable climatic condition for growing grapes, I'm sure the rate of unemployment will drastically reduce.
Despite the challenges, Dalhatu is still marching on, his passion for grape farming unwavering as he embarks on the ambitious mission to help make Nigeria self-sufficient in grapes. Deji Bademasi, TV360.
I studied art from the Yaba College of Technology, where I did my OND and my HND.